Hello everyone, Russell Wright from networkempire.com. I'd like to thank you for making it today. And we're going to move into the actual hands-on training. We've been preparing a lot of this stuff for you and got a lot of excited people and emails and over the last few hours, and we're really excited to move forward. So this is really not so much my show. I'm actually really excited about integrating all of these principles into the several students I have that are in the local search. So with no further ado, I'm going to step out of the way and let Matt and Sue jump in and start talking about the actual technical process that we'll be going through.
Hi guys, it's Matt speaking. How are you? I hope you're well tonight, and thank you for joining us again. Before we start really diving into this, do we need to just maybe do a few Q&As before we really get started, so it gives a chance for everybody to get back onto the webinar, Russ and Sue?
Yeah, we can probably do that. We have about 3/4 of the members who were here yesterday.
Yeah.
First of all, I do want everybody to know that we have the replay. It is up in the Local Leads Empire course, and have had a couple people say they had a difficult challenge logging on to that page. We're some kind of technical difficulty on 1 or 2 accounts. We're fixing that now. The Local Leads Empire course video replay is in the Local Leads Empire area under Day 1, and we're going to be listing each of the replays out. We'd ask that you don't share these replays. It's proprietary, kind of an NDA only type of situation here with the, as I explained yesterday, the IP that we have involved in this. So hopefully that's all there. If you have any challenges at all getting to any of the items inside the area, I'm on it. So just go ahead and contact us and let us know what's going on. You'll see this area beginning to flesh out more and more. These are actually monster replays, so it requires a couple extra steps in translating them and encoding them. So
yeah,
let us know.
I also want to mention only an hour and a half of that replay got up. I know a lot of you guys have noticed that already, and I believe the whole thing recorded. We've got 2 recordings of it. We're doing backup recordings, so we'll work today to try and get the entire replay for yesterday.
Yeah, and I actually have it in its entirety in another format, and we're going to swap it out, and I just need to talk to Sue about we're going to actually upload it in a different form. So
also, the documents are going to trickle in a little bit slower than we had previously thought, but they will all be up sometime next week. All of the scripts and the contracts and all of that, so that by the time you're actually ready to need that stuff, it'll be there.
Yeah, and part of the reason for that is that as we started talking to students, we realized that in our experience in the past as well, for having a lot of documents, as we sat and looked at this, is that if we give you everything and it just kind of dumps all together, I mean, I understand the course inside and out for the most part, and it's a huge amount of documents for me, so I really want to make sure that they're put in the exactly correct location within the exact timing of what it is and when it is that you'll need them. So that's the main reason that we're doing that.
Yeah, give you some kind of a map so that it's more easily consumed.
Yeah. Actually, the complete version, which is the entire version of the video, yesterday's replay, should be up in that area. I'm going to be doing it while we're going through this stuff. It should be up there by the time this webinar is over. So if you weren't here yesterday and you want to catch up with it, it will be not cut in half. And thanks for letting us know when something's not working perfectly well with these giant files.
And then somebody asked, is there a good way to get a hold of us? The easiest thing to do is to send an email to talk-to-us, TALK, the number 2, US, at networkempire.com. That I'll put that in through the, ping it through to everybody. That actually emails all of us. So the appropriate person can respond to that.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're more than happy to help on any of these fronts. And all the questions and insights you guys give us help us create a better course, and that's what we want to do. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
So is there any core questions the guys want answered from yesterday's session before we begin? I'm going to wait maybe like another 5 or 6 minutes, and then I really want to get dug in. It's just to give everybody a fair chance to get on.
Looks like we do have almost the same. We're 3 people shy from the same amount that was on yesterday. So
okay.
It's going to be pretty close, Matt.
Okay. So should I just get going?
I would.
Okay, cool. So yeah, everybody, welcome to day 2. What I'm going to do, the slideshow today is going to be a lot shorter than yesterday's foundations training, and then we're going to actually go and look at this project and see what golden nuggets we can find. I've already found one, and I've grabbed the domain, so I'm pretty stoked with myself already. So let's get started. Okay, so the agenda for today is basically SEO 101 core engines, Network Empire stackable system, building the website, getting the domain, which I've done already, list preparation and segmentation. This is a very, very important part of the whole process, and this is what will make or break your leads. So we're going to basically talk about that and take you guys through what you need to really think carefully about. And then publishing the website. You're going to see how easy it is to actually publish the website. During this stage, we'll actually have a look at the template which we've uploaded for you guys to use. And we'll talk about this theme and the reason why we've chosen this specific theme to build these lead engines. There's a very, very specific reason to it. Okay, so then promoting the website. Okay, so SEO 101, core engines. Okay, for those of you who are new to SEO, here are the core engines that drive it. The trick to SEO is don't overthink it. If you try and get too much into technical, you're going to melt your brain. And at the end of the day, you just will never get going. You'll never leave the starting block. You might take one step, but then you get jammed up. So don't overthink it. Just rather flow. And the trick to this whole game is test and measure, and test and measure again. So it's basically get your site up as fast as possible, and then just make tweaks as you move along. Okay, you can't really break anything. The only time things go bad is when you try dodgy things or you try some type of tactic on your primary domain which you've actually not tested and it's a black hat or something and Google doesn't like it. Then you'll get a smack on the wrist. But for the most part, don't overthink it. Just do your basic stuff. And remember, you're building sites for people. The reason why we built DWS, the core reason is for building these lead engine networks and build them on a massive scale so we can actually swallow whole markets. Now, DWS manages the bots and all the technical stuff for you, so you don't really have to sweat too much about that anymore. You don't even know how to program. You just need a basic light touch of HTML experience so you can work with the forms, and that's about it. So remember, we're building sites for people, and we want to find where are these people and what are they looking for, and then we want to position ourselves into that data stream so that we can actually scoop the inquiries. Okay, so SEO is at the middle, and there's so many conversations, and geez, I spent a fortune years ago. Well, I've spent up to like £15,000 just buying education, till I got a point where I just thought, you know what, it's just rehashed nonsense. And when I really started learning was when I started building sites and putting them out there. That's when my true education started. So all the reading in the world, I could have done it for 1,000 years and I still would not achieved anything. It was when I started doing stuff and testing it. That's when I learned, and my learning accelerated very fast. So just to really dumb this right down, like I like to zoom out and just look at things from an objective perspective. And when you look at SEO, you basically need backlinks, link diversity, anchor text variation, on-page optimization, off-page optimization, traffic, and tracking your efforts and results. Those are the basic 5 core elements that exist when you're doing this whole process. And you don't have to, it's the small tweaks that make the big difference, okay? So you'll never make a perfect page, and don't bother trying. Just get it live. That's the trick. Get it live and see how things respond to it, and keep on moving. And you tweak as you move along, okay? That's why it's called testing and measuring. Okay, so what we'll use today is silo architecture, okay? We're going to build our websites with WSA, website silo architecture, and DWS's whole foundation is built around that technology. And the reason for that is we can get ranked for far fewer inbound links. The whole technology, the whole infrastructure, the whole way it's built out basically reduces our cost when we're actually building websites. So when we back away into the market, the top level keywords that are hard to get ranked for, by the time we come to promote and deal with them, we've actually reduced the cost up to 40 to 60% depending on the market and the page rank that we're up against. Okay. I'm going to use DWS to build out the website. So I'm going to show you how I go about doing this. And then, like I said before, DWS has specifically been designed to build out lead generation networks. Before DWS was going to come to the public, Sue and I were actually building this for ourselves. Okay, we've always had a bit of a darker plan than we like to talk about, but this is why we built it. Okay, so DWS rapidly builds size structured websites with minimal coding experience. You can actually build your website and have never coded anything ever before. Okay. And this is great about the thing. I remember when I started building my websites, I had to go learn PHP, I had to learn ASP, I had to go learn ASP.NET, I had to go learn all these languages just to try and get a dynamic website up. These days, you click a few buttons and it's there. What DWS does when it's actually working and analyzing your keywords, when we start going through the research mode, it rapidly basically takes all your business KPIs for every keyword, ranks, sorts, and shuffles them so all the cream floats to the top. And that's all we're interested in, is the top 20% of keywords that drive a market. The rest of the stuff is noise. And if you want to use it, you can use it contextually, okay? What it does, it keeps track of all our links and the semantic relationships between pages, on-site and off-site. So what that means is the suite actually tracks, measures, and keeps control of absolutely everything. We know exactly what's happening with every moving part when we're running the suite. And with the release of the PKM that's coming out in the next quarter, we're actually going to start seeing some really interesting data coming back. Okay. Now, with the suite, we can build one keyword, or we can build a website with 2,400 plus keyword. Okay. It's a stackable, scalable platform. It merges and moves with whatever you want to do. So it's not a rigid platform where it can only do one thing. It's actually it's almost like putty. You can merge it and mold it to do whatever you want. Okay. And DWS allows me to scale my business rapidly. Now, remember last night we spoke about team and technology. I'm going to briefly touch on it again for you guys because I want these points to get instilled into you so you actually understand technology with your business. This is the core part that's very, very important. Okay, so DWS's core principal engine. Okay, this is what we spoke about yesterday. Remember we spoke about niche, mastery, niche, leverage, team, synergy, results. Okay, the whole core engine, everything that's sitting right at the heart of DWS is built around those 6 principles. So mastery is knowing your business basics, putting solid foundations in place to build your business on, and keeping score of the primary business and marketing key performance indicators. Okay, that is the most important thing. That's the very, very first thing you got to do. And DWS starts off. When you put your keywords in, DWS takes that and it actually applies your mastery rules to it. So it's making sure that you are covering your bases. Next, niche is all about marketing. This is developing a strong, unique selling USP, okay? Working on generating more leads into your business, converting these leads into sales and getting repeat business from those leads. With DWS, when we look at our keyword grid screen, the solid framework stage, and we actually look at the keywords, we can actually see the conversions and we can see how the conversions flow according to a keyword, and it can help us make decisions on what we're doing. Next is leverage. Leverage is setting up systems and procedures and technology, doing more with less, and working towards a business that runs without you working in it. Okay. The whole way DWS works with leverage and the team, it rapidly builds out your sites. Okay, it's no more spending hours making a WordPress website. You build it in seconds. So we're using leverage to do more with less, and we're winning back time, which is core, and it's important to us. Team, getting your staff working as a team, okay, using technology to make your people and education strategy work, having the systems in place so that the team can work even more, even if you're not there. With the whole team part of DWS, you can outsource to anybody or you can use internal people, and everyone comes in, they see the same information, there's no ambiguity, there's no, my spreadsheet is better than your spreadsheet, there's no data getting lost. The whole thing is in one place. Everybody goes in, they do the job, they get the job done, they move on to the next thing. So once again, we're using leverage, we're saving time, we're making our procedures very clear, it's very specific, and this is good for team. And if you want to bring people in to work on your projects, it's a piece of cake, okay? So then synergy is bringing mastery, niche, mastery, niche, leverage, and team together, okay? This is where you bring the team and the systems together to produce results. So when everybody's working and everything's getting pushed through DWS, the end result is your live site's up, your promotions are happening, everything's actually happening in a synergetic way, okay? So these are the core principles that drive DWS. So your first homework assignment is going to be for the detailed training on any stackable system. And if you have not gone through this yet in the Network Empire training area, please go to the Small Business Track link and just review phase 1 to 7 in the course before you start building your site out. Just run through it again if you have, just to get a refresher. Listen to Russell's videos on the ISDNA, the industry standard training that he does there. Understand the vitamin, the painkiller documents, read through that, be clear on that, because there's painkiller articles we want to write and we want to address the pains in the market so that we can get more conversions. Okay, so I'm just going to close this down quickly. This is where we want to basically start off. Just to refresh your memory, if you've not done it, spend a day or two and just go through that information. Just get clear so that you actually understand the stackable system. It's very, very smart the way it works, and when you understand this, everything becomes easier. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about Network Empire's stackable system. And what we've got here is a complete business solution. A lot of people have not really grasped exactly how powerful the system is, and today I've spent a bit of time to bring this all together for you. We work on a horizontal plane and we also work on a vertical plane. The vertical plane in our stackable system allows us to work with our business. We can zoom in or we can zoom out. We can actually look at the whole project for all the projects, or we can zoom right down in to actually tweak one keyword with this stackable system. On the horizontal plane with the Network Empire stackable system, we go through the entire process of basically researching the market, finding the pains, building the site, writing the content, publishing the site, getting it live, and then promoting it and broadcasting everywhere. Okay. Now this ties back into our business principles. Okay. So what it does is it gives you a repeatable, stackable process you can repeat every time and you can master. Okay, it's something you learn the same process and you master it. When you master it, you outsource it and you start working your way out of the business. Okay, so mastery. Number 2, the DWS core principle engine. Your lead engine plan is built on a strong business foundation which is used to check all your data. Number 3, DWS production engine. Niche, leverage, and team. You have the ability to manage multiple projects simultaneously as well as your team members. Okay. 4, synergy. DWS promotion engine. You everywhere now. Okay. Those 4 core engine blocks is what you have driving the whole lead engine. Okay. This is what's going to be driving the whole thing. If you don't use DWS, I strongly recommend you do. I'm not just punting this tool for the sake of selling it to you. We spent 2 years developing this, and we've taken all our thoughts, all our IP, everything, we've put it into this thing, and we created the stackable system. It's taken us years to get this whole thing to work the way it's working now, and it's really, really sweet. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to build the website, and then we're going to publish it. So what you're basically going to do is you want to take a notepad and write down all the services that you've done in yesterday. Okay. So if you did the snooper method and you found out what's going on, how it all works, you want to do that. You want to identify lead partners, so you can go to yale.com and do a search for targeted keyword and locale. You can go to Google and look at the top 10 websites. What you want to try and do is find how many businesses do the services in your local area and look up to about a 100-mile radius. But I even think 100 miles is a bit far. On average, I'd say 30-mile radius is typically where your zone would go, okay? And I've basically got a sneak preview of the prospector file. Okay, I'm just going to preview this quickly, and I'll show you what's going to be coming to you basically over the next few days. With the prospector, this is what it looks like. It's basically a tool. I'm just going to zoom into this so we can actually look at it nicely. Okay. What this does is the prospector basically allows you to import data if you're using certain kinds of tools. We give you all the templates that you need over there. You can just fill in the gaps into the right columns and import it in as a CSV file. But basically, on this demonstration here with the prospector, we've imported in businesses, which we got from yale.com. Okay, and when I was speaking about the zone, it was quite interesting. I did the scan over the whole of the Glasgow region, and you can see that most of the people are within a 30-mile radius. But what's good about this is when we look at the businesses, we can actually see where they're located and how big the areas are. So essentially the Glasgow Central Belt section over there, we could have one lead gen engine. We could hop across to Edinburgh, we could have a lead engine for that. We can drop down to Kilmarnock, we can have a lead engine for this over here. So this is a typical idea, is like every 30 miles we have a specific engine where we target 1 or 2 businesses to process the work as the leads go in. So when we come to our lists, this is how the list will automatically start directing the traffic we're pushing through our lead engine to these people automatically. End of the month, we'll get our accountant to invoice them or do it ourselves. Okay. Now the next picture is where we go to the opposite side of the coin and we actually look at the leads. Okay, where are our leads coming from? So all I've done here on this one here is I've imported the postcodes of where all the leads are coming from. So you can see around Glasgow, there's a lot of leads around Glasgow and there's a lot of leads around the Kilmarnock area. Okay, and we can actually see we want to geo-target Paisley, Irvine, Kilmarnock, East Kilbride, Prestwick, the Cumbernauld area, Airdrie, and then Hamilton. We can actually see where all the leads are coming in. These are where people are coming in. And this is how we start geo-targeting specific things. So 1, we swallow it up with the web. 2, we can drop leaflets, okay, with offline marketing. And when we come back, I'm going to actually take you guys into the whole offline marketing, and I've actually got a whole process you can look at. It's a really, really powerful spreadsheet which I'm going to be sending to you, where you can actually tie up your offline promotions with certain parts of your sales process. It's really, really sweet. So this is the prospector, what it does. It allows us to look at data in 2 dimensions, okay? 1, we can look at where the businesses are and where they're located, and we can define the zones of how we want to build our sites. And then 2, we can actually look at the leads. So if you have got a client and he's going to be one of your prospects, just say to me, hey, can you just give me the postcodes of where your clients are coming from typically? Fire through this, we can see the pins and we can then geo-target the areas they're working in. Okay. So this is where we're going to identify where the lead partners are and where the prospects are typically coming from. So if you don't have leads yet, you'll get that information, and this is how we're going to really zoom right in and focus our efforts where the people are. Okay. So typically what today we're going to do is we're going to go to our favorite keyword tool. We're going to draw the keywords, we're going to import into DWS. We're then going to map out the site framework in DWS. So you'll have a primary keyword and you'll have your 6 primary supporting keywords. And this is what you're going to start off with. You're going to build your site and you're going to basically just drop in 6 articles. That's all you want to do to start off, and you want to publish your site and get it live, get the content in, get it live, and then you want to start the promotion just to kick it off. That's the first thing you want to do as fast as possible. You don't want to build out and map out the whole world. You want to basically go straight to the locale where the traffic is, get the site up, get the leads to start coming in. Okay. Basically, when we're mapping out our supporting keyword and doing our synonyms in DWS, we don't want to do more than 3 to 5 keywords. And then what we'll do is we write the content for each page. We're then going to publish the website. And this is where we're going to set up the autoresponder. Okay. And we're going to segment the list. The next slide I'll show you is all about segmentation, and I'm going to speak about that as well. Then what we do is we're going to get live, we're going to test and measure, we're going to get our website live, and then bang, we're going to basically drive some traffic. So we're going to do some paid traffic, and we're going to fire it in there and get leads running through our website. And once we've done that, we're going to actually test it and see, okay, is the website converting? Is the traffic we're sending in actually a good conversion and it's actually working, or is it bad conversions? If it's bad and it's not really converting well, we need to go to the page and we optimize it. So this is where we fine-tune the engine, and this is why I say don't stress too much up front trying to build it perfect here. It's when you push traffic through it is when you start tweaking it. Okay. So once we've got the good conversions, this is where we start flipping the leads. Okay. And this is where we start driving into the prospects. Okay. So the next thing we want to do here is talk about the lead management validation segmentation, and this is probably the most important part of this whole course. Okay, so a few things to think about when you're actually creating your lists. 1, you need to have form validation and segmentation because it's crucial to an effective lead management campaign. Okay, you want to basically have the lead sent off, and you don't want the lead all ugly written. If it's a guy's name, you want to basically have a little bit of JavaScript you can get online, or if the Aweber forms allow it, have those things tweaked so that they actually get put into camel case. It's just formatting, that's all it is. You want to make sure that the data that you're collecting is formatted properly, okay? Because if it's not formatted, it saves you hours of having to format it. And remember, we want to build an automated system. Now, some of you might be thinking, oh no, I don't want to do this. I can really promise you it's not hard. And if it is hard for you, get someone on Fiverr to do it for you. You can do it, write a little bit of JavaScript. Say, listen, I need this field in uppercase. I need this field in camel case. I need this field in lowercase. Can you just write a little script that'll do this for me? Send them your form code. They will go and actually write the JavaScript straight into the form for you. They'll send it back, and when you type in this thing, it'll actually pre-format the stuff. Okay. The rules for lead acquisition. Okay. Golden rule. People hate filling in forms. The longer the form, the better your conversion rate. It's just the fact. Okay. Always capture exactly what is required to sell the lead. As little as possible, but enough to make the lead sellable. And that's a very, very important point. Okay. You want to give as little as possible, and you want to give as much just to make the lead sellable. Okay. All standard data should be put in hidden fields or pre-formatted. Okay. When I talk about standard data over here, essentially what I'm talking about is things like when we create a column inside the Aweber database, and we're actually adding the hidden field. The hidden field is a form you can't see. You can actually see it on the page, but it's actually there. And you just type in the value. So let's just say we're doing leads for electrician, and this is your electrician segmentation for, let's just say, Hamilton. You could put Hamilton in there as a hidden field for the town. Okay. It depends on what you're doing, but if you can hide fields and it's standardized, i.e. it's the same information time and time again, it has to go through the whole process, then that's what you want to do over there. Okay. You always want to make sure that you pre-plan the list segmentation before creating your lists. Now, do you remember yesterday when we actually went to the list segmentation? I'm actually just going to show you that quickly. Let's just get to the desktop. Okay. Remember I told you to segment the list? Okay, let's preview that one there. Essentially what you've done here, that's the one before it. Yeah, that one. This essentially could be your list segmentation chart. So right in the beginning when we actually defined the market, okay, if you looked at this, you could have residential, and you can have your cleaner people that you're sending leads to, and you can have your commercial list or list section, which holds all your lists that are for commercial people who focus purely on commercial. And as people come in with cleaning requests, that list will then automatically send the lead to the person that you're dealing with, who's buying the leads. Okay, so you'll have an email that it redirects the lead to straight away, and you blind copy yourself in if you want to, or send it to a Google email account, or set up an email account on your server that's specific for that. So you've always got a backup of the leads as they're coming in. Typically what I would do is I'll go to my server, I'll create an email, cleaners@thatwebsite.com or commercial.cleaners, and then I'll have all the leads go to that file, and it'll just sit on the server there. And those email accounts will hold all the leads as backups. But typically this could be your list segmentation plan that you're dealing with. Okay. So the next thing you want to do is when you pre-plan your list segmentation before you create a list, the end result should be that you ensure that the leads can automatically be passed onto the client without you having to format the lead in any of the forms. Okay. So what you want to do is the guy hits your website, fills in the form, presses submit, it goes to Aweber. You're going to use Aweber or whatever email service you're using to actually track the lead, and that lead's automatically going to get redirected to the person. Okay. If they've got SMS service, you then want to connect that SMS number to that list. So here's what happens. If someone stops paying you for the leads, okay, you got to make sure that you set it in such a way that all you do is you go into that list, you get a new contact who's going to buy leads off you, you put his email in, you put his SMS number in if you do SMS as well. press submit, update, boom. The rest of the lead flow starts running to him. And then just make a note of from that date, those leads are actually going to him. And typically with the hidden field thing, in your hidden form, I would put a reference number, who the leads are actually going to, so that you've got a unique number for your clients. If you look into the folder, and we come back to our scripts and contracts, the business tracker, this spreadsheet over here, this is where you keep track of your clients. Okay, so if we go across, his ID would be number 5. Use the column here, this column that runs down is the unique ID, because Excel will always have a unique ID for a row. So John Smith would be ID number 5, and you put that ID number 5 into the thing as business ID. There you got his phone number for the SMS, and there he's got an email. So you keep track on this, and this is how you control the lead flow for the guys. Okay, so once we've done that, when you're building your list, right, people cannot spell anymore. Okay, maybe 20 years ago, a lot of people got the wooden ruler on their hands and they made sure they learned how to spell. In this day and age, kids cannot spell. Everyone types with SMS and everything's acronyms and short and small. They cannot spell. That's just the truth. So, well, I saw this in the call center. It's quite a funny story. The one bank name was one of these, Birmingham Midshire. We ended up running the people saying their leads weren't being found. They couldn't find their leads. There's sales that have gone missing. And I said, sales can't go missing. And we had a big argument in the boardroom. And the salespeople were having a big go at IT. So I said, well, give me an hour. Let me go have a look. So I went to the database. We drilled in with one of my guys. We were checking it out. And we ran a few queries, and we came back, and there was 67 variations of how that actually spelled Birmingham Midshire. And this is what caused the big problem, was people couldn't spell, and when they were running the reports, it wasn't picking up all the things because the bank that they're actually doing the work for, the people couldn't spell the name right. So a percentage that spelled it right, those got reported because that's what it was looking for, but all the others sort of became like ghost leads, as what we call them. So if you can standardize things, put them into a drop-down menu, let people pick. They prefer doing that than typing out. So that will also keep your lists very, very pure. Okay, so be highly specific so that later on you can actually introduce the leads to alternate related products or services like coupon specials or related companies. Because remember, the guy's opted into your list, is giving you permission to basically do a service for him. Okay, so in doing a service for him, if you segment your list properly, you now know how to connect them to the other tangent services and the offers that they're having. Okay. So with automation and call centers, it's extremely important that the typing is a minimum. You want to get the call agents to answer as many calls as possible, but you want to get them off the phones as fast as possible. Okay. And at the same time, you want to get them to process the information correctly. Because the longer they sit on the phone talking to someone, chatting away, depending on what type of setup you have, you might get charged per minute for whatever calls they do, because that's how they track things. So this is the general idea of list segmentation, and this is what we've got to start to consider when we come to publish and when we're dealing with autoresponders over here to manage and track our leads. This is how we track it. We use autoresponders to actually track who's getting what leads, and then at the end of the month we say, what are the leads for this month? We tally it up, we send them an invoice, and we get them to pay us. If they don't pay, we switch it out, we pass the leads on to someone else. This is why you build this for yourself. Okay. So those are the golden rules. So a campaign example would be basically, the list would be property maintenance. Okay. Then what we'll do is we'll segment the list into the top level sectors, i.e. garden services, painters, carpenters, builders, electricians, gas engineers, cleaning services, business, home and income, mortgage leads, life insurance leads. Okay. Now, all the microsectors are interconnected and have a crossover service. You can expect to have your network include targeting these sectors as well as increase the lead reach. So in example, we're doing end of tenancy, and we're going to look at end of tenancy cleaning today. I just looked at it, and there's a lot of search, and there's got some really nice numbers there. What would happen with the end of tenancy cleaning? You get cleaners in, But typically, if the cleaners come in, they might need painters, they might need to get the garden sorted out, they might need to get electrical checks done, especially if it's a rental property, and the gas engineers. So that one lead that you're getting $8 for, $5 for, whatever it is, now essentially you can turn it into a 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. Okay, so it's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. You're targeting an $8 lead and you're switching it out to become an $80 lead. Okay, and just by doing this, it's simply just the way how you format it and you communicate with the guys. So the lead comes in, your autoresponder sees it comes in off the cleaning services, and as soon as it does that, it pings them a pre-formatted letter back to these guys. Hey, we've got guys that are giving these offers. Boom, 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 links to all these guys. Would you like to have them contact you? If so, please let us know. And then you just interconnect the forms and you make it automatically run. You can get really, really complex. I'm not going to get into that right now because I don't want to confuse you guys. But if you've got your list segmented, in even more advanced trainings, we can do it later on, or if you want to have some consultation done, I can show you how to interconnect one list into another list and have it sort of loop as they spin things out. There's a lot of things you can actually do, okay, with that. Now, but what another thing you have to do is when people come in, if they're coming through gas engineers and stuff and electrical type of stuff that's almost regulated, one field you might want to consider putting into your forms is when was your last electrical check done or last safety check done. Your family's health is very important. Your tenant's health is very important, and if it's not been done, you can basically get jailed. You can use like a fear factor, and the guy can actually just key in a date. And if it's less than whatever the regulation date is, you can actually have that form ping the guy back and say, look, would you like to have an engineer come out and check your stuff as well for you? So if you think through the process of what's going on in the industry, the market, you can actually really expand it out. So I know you'll get some things. You might get guys who are just doing laundry, like laundry, washing clothes. That's the business, and they want to come and do it all. There's not really much that you can do there. So then that's when you'd actually do like a friends and family coupon. Invite your friends and get their names onto your list so you can ping your service to them. So you got to look at the market and step away from it and then see, okay, who's the moving parts that are connected around it, and then you segment your list around it in that way. Okay, so that's the slide presentations. Before I jump into building the site out, do you have any questions on this, guys, with what I've spoken to you about over here before we commence?
Oh, yes.
10 minutes.
So to back up a little bit.
Up to which slide?
Don't worry about the slides just yet, but this question was asked a little while ago. When you first get the site to a good conversion status, do you ever have to scrap the project because you can't get the conversions high enough to justify moving forward? Is there a failure rate with the process? How much money do you throw at it in the test? But there's several questions. I'll just stop right there and we'll come back to the others.
Yeah, what I do is with DWS, we look at the conversions up front. You'll see this in the next 15 minutes, where we're going to pull the data in and we're going to actually look at it and see, look, what's going to cost us and how many conversions there are. Okay. Now, with yesterday's example, we figured out, for me to achieve my goal for this project, this lead engine on a board, I need to find 20 leads per day that can make me at least $20 a lead. If I can't get $20 and I can only get $10, then I need 40 leads a day to meet my targets. So I know already roughly what my targets are. Now I need to go look at the sectors and see how I can squeeze that out of those sectors. And when we pull the data into DWS, it'll become very clear what's actually viable.
Yeah, and that's one aspect of it. The other aspect that I'll throw in is that we have, in the stackable system, we have the painkiller method very particularly because if you don't understand the pain in the market, your conversions can be cut in half. And you can study from some of my mentors and associates out there, Dr. Glenn Livingston, Perry Marshall, all these other folks, they'll tell you the same thing. If you're just in a white paper state of mind, you're not going to convert. If you understand the pain in the market, and this is what we teach you actually in the painkiller modules, you have to understand the pain in the market and your headline, and Dr. Livingston teaches the same thing. If you actually find the pain, extract it, put it on a grid, and you use that as your headline, your conversions can sometimes go up 1,000%. And so that's why you can see how complex it is to teach when it comes to conversion. Because I have seen people scrap campaigns simply because their pages and their conversions suck. So what you really want to do is you do the projections like Mac's going to show you, and in advanced modules and of course other courses that we have and the rest, conversion is everything, and the way you position the page. This is one of the greatest kept secrets in the conversion industry, is a page that that works, while your other competitors and other people in the field have pages that suck. Because once you figure out what that is, you're going to use that again and again, and your conversion rate is going to match the projection on Domain Web Studio. So again, we get into that in more advanced courses. We also have tips and techniques. For example, I have sites where the user doesn't even need to add their email and name because it's done for them, and they just have to click submit. There's these things I can increase this. So it's basically several percentages of different things that increase your conversion way above and beyond the edge of your competition. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and another point to think about, you guys, is every page we build into our structure, i.e. our framework, that essentially is going to become a campaign. And if that keyword that we're putting in is not going to convert and it's not worth our time or money investing into it, then we don't want to put it in. So when you see when I map things out, I'm only looking for stuff that's got conversion, and I know that I can nail pretty quickly. And page rank plays a big part in it. So when you come to this part here, by the time you've gone through the process, where's my little highlighter thing? I actually like that. When we go through this process over here, okay, once we've done that step over there, by that time we should have actually eliminated a lot of the variables that can cause us to fail. Okay, when we come to write the content and we use the pain method that Russell has told us, we focus and concentrate on it. That's why it's a stackable system. You do one thing at a time, you think about it, you move on to the next one when you're done. So when you finish the one job that's done properly, you move on to the next one. Do it properly, move on to the next one. Everything stacks and balls on top of each other. Okay. So when we get to test and measure, you could even go do pay-per-click, right? And there's many ways you can test. You can actually just go take and say you're looking for 100 clicks, and you bid low enough to be on position 6 or 7, and you just look at the impressions. How much impressions is actually coming there? So you're not actually spending much money. If the impressions are good, you can actually push yourself up forward and actually generate leads and start pushing them to the business that you got. But everything's taking it one step at a time, and everyone always wants to rush to the end. Yeah, let's go, go, go. But it's the small things up front that make the big results at the end. So do each step. This is what I recommend you do each step, and it's going to basically make you money and not actually cost you money. Okay.
Okay. You ready for the next question?
Yep.
All right. How much paid advertising money do you put toward one of these during the testing phase?
If I look at something like debt, for example, I love talking about the debt market. It's such an insane market because there's so much pain tied with it. But it's the guys are throwing, the corporates have actually blanketed that market. I've seen things where pay-per-clicks are like £50. And I'll show you some examples where it's like £50 a click. One click's £50. Boom. Thank you very much. They've just made it impossible for guys to sort of get in there. And when it's like that, then you want to sort of go to the CPA networks. You want to jump across and drive stuff to CPA offers. And the thing that we're using is also brilliant for that type of stuff. So you don't have to go through Google. Google's not the only entity on the web. You can do a lot of other things to drive traffic. So typically Google's easy, but you can look at MSN. You just want to get 100 clicks and see what the conversion rate is. That's all you want to achieve. So I typically, if I'm doing a campaign, i.e. look at one page, I would take like $100 and I'd say, okay, if I spend this $100, what should I get back? And then I want to make sure that it's good enough over a year to at least get leads back so I can reclaw. So if I can get $20 a lead, I need to get at least 5 sales out of the 100 clicks. What percentage is that? That's like, who's really good? I'm just going to calculate that quick. That's not even a 1% conversion rate if you get 5 leads. It's like it's very, very low.
Five leads out of 100?
Yeah.
It's 5%.
Out of 100, it's 5%. Well, that's pretty good. So you need to get like a 5% conversion then. So you have to tweak it. It's a bit late, my brain's not working right now. But yeah, keep it low and just test and measure. And this is the way you go about doing it, because once you get the mix right, then you can ramp up. And this is what we're going to do in the traffic part of the course, is the ramp up. By that time, you want to have turned all the nuts and bolts tight. You want to make sure it's converting, it's working well, your conversions are acceptable, and then you do the big push and you start ramping up the campaign. So start small. Don't take £1,000 and just throw it at the campaign, because the numbers look good. Take small bites and see what happens. Small tests and see what happens. Okay.
Okay. Oh, I was thinking that was... What type of content do you have in your autoresponders?
When you map out your plan, right? When you segment it. Okay, let me get that thinking about again.
The answer to that question is it depends.
Yeah, it basically depends on what you're dealing with. So
yeah,
you can start simple, and
okay.
If the guy comes into like the cleaning thing, then you'd basically respond, "Thank you for contacting us. One of our brokers will get back to you shortly. These are the services we can offer you." So from straight then you can actually talk to them and say, "Look, if you'd like more help with this type of stuff, click on this link," and then feed them back into your next autoresponder or your next page and site that deals with other services. So they can actually go and try and get that as well.
And also remember that that's an upsell, depending upon how far down this process that you'll be learning from us you go. That's an added value if a client, if you're essentially leasing your site to a client, because follow-up is an automated process, and that's just an additional value.
Yeah.
Another part of that question was, is this email list mine only, or do I share the lead with the buyers?
No, you own the list, and you're selling him one lead off that list.
This will be your autoresponder system, regardless of which one you use.
If he disappears, right, you still are the list owner. They've given you permission to basically put them in touch with one of your brokers, i.e. one of your consultants. And these firms that you're working with, that's who you're referring to them as the person who do the work for you. They're one of your consultants or recommended partners. So you own the list, and this is what you want to do. This is the whole point of building a lead engine, is you need to keep the list, because you can keep on working very smart with it. If you cherish your list and you don't burn it and you work well and you keep an eye on the market or what's going on, and you can even think about it, right? If a painter goes and paints a guy's house, 15 months later, say, look, hey, 15 months ago, this guy painted your house. Would you like him to come around again and just do some touch-up work for you? And you can pre-plan it in your autoresponder so that it comes back to him X amount of months later down the line, 15 months later. And that's an automated process that just runs. So this is what I'm saying. It's got to be recurring things that you're looking for all the time. And if you just take your time and map out each node, each string, when you write your autoresponder thing, you got to think about the whole cycle, the whole buying cycle. What does the person do? How do you maintain that person? You keep on bringing them back. So once they hit that list and they sign up, that's automatically going to ping him again in 15 months and say, hey, boom, have you done this? Hey, what about this? What about that? And that's the automated process. Now, as you build your engines up, you're going to have all these things firing off all the time as you build your network out. So constantly, you're going to have these leads coming in, which is making it £20, £20, £20, £10, £8, and those numbers add up very quickly. So that's how I would go about doing it, to be honest.
Okay.
I'd keep it very specific to the actual container that it belongs to.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, to give you guys an idea, and this is kind of basic and intermediate. I know we have a large spread of different levels of skill sets. The way that Sue and I do it is that we have, unique. I'm just trying to give you an example from a very specific service. As you get to be a large company, you'll have probably your own in-house autoresponder. But if you're using something like Aweber, Aweber and I mean, Aweber is basically one of the more under-optimized aspects of most people's businesses at the beginner's level. And it's the same thing. It's funny because when I got into the corporate world, the autoresponders in-house are also just as badly underestimated and under-optimized. And so what I'm really getting at here is that separate your lists not only by industry, but by topics of interest within that industry. Is it all right if I give an example here, Sue? Or?
Sure.
Okay. An example would be that you guys are on a list for leads, for local lead interested in local issues. Okay, I could break that down further into local video, and that would be a separate list. I could break that down into other, local Google Plus.
Right.
And I would not merge those as one list by default. I would separate them. Aweber has, any private autoresponder services doesn't want you to merge lists for their own protection, for double opt-in services and the rest. But what I'm really saying here is that, I would not, for example, put people interested in Facebook timeline conversion in the same list that I would put people interested in local leads empire. I know it seems a lot of you guys maybe rolling your eyes and going, well, we know this is basic, but a lot of our, intermediate even folks, they still compile everybody into one gigantic list. And the reality is that you have to really come from the product out, not just the industry out. I like to lead by the product. Other people do in other ways. So when I look at Matt's stuff here, we're talking always about if you have somebody who's in the dog care industry or dog babysitting or whatever, you wouldn't obviously put them on the same list as you would, say, the pizza industry, right? So you would keep those lists separate, and you still own the list, whatever mainframe you use, whatever email system you use. You want to be able to segregate. It's just a form of what we call product or email list segmentation. Does that make sense to the person asking the question?
That everything that you said has generated a lot of questions. So I think the best
issue.
Yeah, the best thing to do is I want to do a couple of videos. I'm going to go into an Aweber account and do a couple of videos and just show you guys everything what we're talking about.
Yes.
And there's also questions on how to do hidden variables in the forms and all of that kind of stuff. So I'll get into all that.
Right. I just want to add real quick there, Sue, that we do have a course that you and I are putting together called Stealth Aweber. And it's not limited to Aweber. It's really, it's actually a course that I'm putting out there for free. So we're adding some of those basic things, but we'll be giving you guys the advanced stuff. And again, Aweber is, useful for everyone at all levels, but it doesn't automatically mean that it applies to your business. So it's on a, it's based on your specific needs. We'll be providing you with information on how that works.
Yeah. There's a good question here on data protection.
Hey, Matt, I kind of interrupted Sue. Sue, do you want to finish that?
Oh, sorry.
I apologize for that.
That's okay. Go ahead. I got a long list of questions, so go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, that question on data protection, I think. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, this is a very interesting one. There's laws in the UK for data protection and passing people's details onto third-party properties. So when the guys opt in, if you have got those laws, you need to make sure that you clearly specify that you'll be sending it to one of your partners, okay? As long as they check that box, it's fine. You can get your data protection license. It's cost you not even like 20, 30 quid. It's not that expensive to get your license. As long as you've got that and it's on a HTTPS server when you're actually doing the form validation, you've covered. The regulations aren't written in law. They're not strict on it. But just always protect the data and think carefully about what you're doing, because you don't want to just be passing people's information on randomly. But in this whole model, I did a lot of work in the financial services stuff, and we basically made sure that we got the guys to opt in and they actually checked the box, yes, I agree that you can pass our information on and you can contact us back again with offers. If they don't want it done, they just uncheck that box, and then you know that leads are once off. So this is why segmentation is so good.
Yeah, I also want to add, because I just got an email about this. I don't want to get into trouble later on. Guys, when you're using systems like Aweber and the rest, it's probably the best you can do at a certain level of business. I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with Infusionsoft and all the different things that allow complex rating and switching over products or you on the database. We're not going to get into that so much on this thing. If you're using Aweber, you still technically don't own that lead at the root. I mean, at the database rather. At the root, and Sue can speak to this way better than I can. But there are systems where, when you get big enough, you put your own database in-house to deal with email, and you're at a whole nother level of business when you're doing that. Just wanted to.
Well, you can export from Aweber.
Yeah, you can do a CSV. I'm just saying in real time the form doesn't connect to your own database, and I hope that you guys know that Aweber stores it on their servers, right?
Yeah.
So again, you're at another level of business when you start pulling in your own autoresponder systems, and Sue, is really does that for us when we're going when we're doing corporate stuff.
Yeah, if it's on your own servers, you got to basically certificates, and you got to make it sure, and you got to have a data protection backup policy. There's a whole bunch of stuff. So
major. If you're dealing with credit cards, you're at a whole other level. I just wanted to draw a line in the sand here so that you guys know what's possible. And there's no way you're going to get into that kind of stuff without generating, $100,000 a month or more, really. I mean, that's my recommendation. Sue would probably go, I don't know what you guys would say about that.
Unless you have database backgrounds and it's easier for you, I'd say that's probably true.
Yeah, or you work in a data center or something. You just have a skill. Okay, sorry about
that. So major switch to a different topic. Back when we were talking about how much money does it cost to actually get your leads, to vet your page, make sure that everything's cool. One question was, does pay-per-view traffic yield enough targeted traffic to mess with it?
It depends on what you're doing. You might find that PPVs don't even give you anything in your locale. It's just not working. So this is why you still got to, we're going to give you all the resources, but start at Google and then work your way back. If it's too expensive at Google, then go down to MSN and have a look. But typically, we want to swallow the market whole. We're going to approach it from a whole bunch of different ways.
Yeah, and don't get me started on PPV. Not on this call. We'll hijack the whole call.
But yeah, you wanna basically, if you're doing paid traffic and stuff, just have a look at it and check it out, because there's traffic to be get. You can buy traffic anywhere and you can do anything, but it depends on the service that you're dealing with. Okay, if you're selling basically, if you're selling antivirus spyware cleaners, you can basically just blast the web because everybody's affected by it. But when we're talking about a particular service and a locale, in the US it might be different, but in the UK, that the CPA networks and those kind of things, they have got some reach, but it might not be much. But you know what? Every bit of traffic you push through your site does count, and all we want to do is reach those goals that we want to get to.
Okay, so then there's another question, which actually, as I was typing the answer, I found it was really interesting. Which is better, to wait a month to bill a client or to pay as you go? And the fascinating thing, my initial response was, bill once a month, like don't nickel and dime these people, and don't spend all of your time billing. But then as I thought about it, I realized there's some leads for really big ticket items, like in the hundreds of dollars, and those I would do a bill as I go. I'd figure out an automated way so that I got my cash in hand as I passed that lead or that sale over.
Yeah, and I agree, Sue. And I also want to add here, because it's almost as if I can feel what everybody on the call is thinking based on how much money they do or don't have to invest in starting a business. It's like one of the things that I would suggest is that you take an assessment. If you have money to start running this business and setting it up, even if you're staying with clients right now, that's going to be a deciding factor. And like, for example, I have somebody who went to an investor who got this type of business up and running. And Sue and I, did some work with him in Chicago. And, basically he got an investor to start capitalizing and got into the leads industry with one of his clients. That's what happened. That he was implementing the systems similar to this, but not anywhere near as advanced as what we're showing you. At the end of the day, the client just said, okay, I get what you're doing. And he was able to sell this stuff back to him. So he switched from client to JV. So there's different things that you can do that are more about business savvy. The main thing you got to decide is, like, how much money do you have? Obviously, if you have zero capital to start building sites, and the rest, you don't want to. You want to keep the checks coming in from clients. There's a couple of questions I got on this yesterday. It's like, in other words, I really have to say, to be clear, don't quit your day job if you don't have any money to invest in building your lead database. You have to have enough money to kick start it, but that's a whole other course on how to launch your business, and we will give you some insights on how that can be done. But again, keep in mind that it completely depends on your particular situation that you have to assess.
Yeah, exactly. So we got another interesting question, which is, so essentially two parties could be contacting the same lead for follow-up. Then your customer's not buying a lead, just the opportunity. I'll let you speak to that.
I wouldn't basically line up 5 guys and then send the same client to 5 different people and having fun by 5 different people and have them each pay you X amount of money. You can do it if you got a brass neck.
I know somebody who does that.
But it's a game of turn and burn. If you notice, if you work in a locale and the word gets around, because everyone will sit in the pub and have a chat. Oh, I get leads from this guy. I'm at the cruise. Oh, me too. Oh, okay. And they're all talking about
exactly. Also,
similar businesses.
Yeah, it's the quality of the lead too. I learned this a long time ago. It's like there are qualities of leads, and leads that are being overly contacted render lower results. So that's why some of the folks I mentioned yesterday that I worked with in the past, we broke them down into the quality of leads based on what they purchased, how hot they were, and the rest. And that's beyond the scope of this particular segment. But again, keep in mind, remember, if you provide burned lists to your clients, then it can come back at you. So,
however, you can provide that person with more than one opportunity.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of things. For example, if somebody's renovating their house, they're probably going to need either somebody to help them out, a handyman, or they're going to need some equipment, or they're going to need a dumpster, or they're going to need blah, blah, blah. So there isn't any reason why you can't provide them with opportunities.
Yes, I prefer that model. I prefer the model because then you're only helping. You're not sending them to the same type of thing. And again, that's on Matt's previous list. What is the pain that a particular type of event or situation is creating? And what are the various organizations, services, or associations that are going to be contacted when that uncomfortable event goes down? And if you already have all those keywords and you start to own those markets and those positions, which is far easier than many of you on this call would believe, then you can actually start to contact, provide your lead list with those resources. And that's really what you're doing from that perspective. So it's pretty cool when you start to see how to, just keep in balance, not burn your list, not do the churn and burn. Because there's some I went to Leads Con in Vegas, and I got to see and watch some of the things going down, and it's just mind-blowing how many times your and my name is passed around to thousands of people.
Yeah, well, in the call center industry, whenever companies come in, they're basically the call centers. They're supposed to dispose of the records, but they never do. It just sits in a database, and they keep on just phoning the same people back again and setting another service.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is why all these regulations pop up to basically stop that. But it does happen. But essentially, you're coming from a different point of view. You're wanting to have repeat business from these customers. So as soon as you get them, you want to give them the best service available. You want to answer all their problems, and you want to put them in connection with the right people in the area. And when that job's been done, you basically follow up with them. Okay. And when you follow up a few months later, you say, look, is there anything else that you'd like us to do for you? And they might just reply back and saying, have you got this and that and that? And that's why you pick up more different leads. Okay. Also, you'll get the people referring your page where they got the service from to friends and family and whoever. So if you burn them by getting them bombarded by 50 guys phoning them back just for the one job, I personally don't like that type of idea because I know what it's like to get spammed by call centers phoning you all the time.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to have better results turning the table around and considering what your experience is. Become the market. Don't just,
Yeah. However, you can. One of the questions was, is there any way of knowing whether or not the bot lead was actually used or if it can be resold? And I would say, you could follow that up in your autoresponder 48 hours later or something along those lines and say, did you find what you were looking for? And if they come back and say no, then you can pass them on to somebody else.
Yeah, because you can use your survey lists and stuff for that, and depending on the answer to the survey list, you can trigger off something else. But that's also getting to other complex
great, guys. Yeah, and those are great conversations, like cross correlation and database correlation of lists and what's called list scrubbing at a corporate level. That's beyond the scope of this course, just an FYI. But if any of you want to hire or consult us on that level, it's a whole other conversation. But it does exist, and it's good to start asking yourself those questions because, it's good to know where you're going and what is possible in those databases.
Exactly. So outside of pay-per-click, what outside of pay-per-click, what paid per click or CPA, what paid traffic would you recommend? And on the third call, we're going to get into a whole bunch of different, like we have a huge list of different traffic sources. Today we're going to briefly touch on CPA and video and maybe one other thing, just in order to get you kick-started. But when we wrap around later, we'll talk about an entire plethora of options for driving traffic.
Yeah, it would be great. I'm thinking about putting out a survey and just finding out like how many of you traffic is this serious issue, and I realize that it is important. It's hugely important. At the same time, we're pretty contrarian on how it works, and so we'll be covering some basics today. And again, those of you who have taken our other courses know that we have a lot in there. But really, we're going to just focus on quick start stuff, and more importantly, how not to think about traffic. That's the main thing that I would like you to walk away from this course, is to be really clear on what does not work. And that should become pretty clear towards the last day.
Yeah. So we want to get you up. Today's course is going to show you, these are the core things you've got to think about. And don't overthink the list management. This is why I've sort of kept this right down here. I've mentioned regulation. We've covered that point. Cover your wickets. That's all I say. If you're familiar with cricket, this is the terminology, cover your wickets so you don't get bowled out. But keep it simple. This is basically when you get the slideshow, download this PDF, put it up on your wall. Just keep it in your mind. Keep it as simple as this, because if you get this framework in right, and the framework is set up like this format where you segmented and broken things down to these points and you build your list up in that way, you'll be fine. Don't overcomplicate it now. Just grow with your business rather than trying to run down a tangent and get scared, because you can go down so many rabbit holes and you'll just get yourself confused. That's the core thing I'd say on the whole lead management. 3 things: validation, segmentation, think through the story. Okay, and then it's qualifying the person. Okay, what will these people really want to? If they're going to be painting their house, what will they need? They'll need to get the house cleaned afterwards, or they'll need to have rubbish taken away. You think about those things, you map it out, and you make sure you have everything in the right place. That's the core point to take away from this today. As you start playing with it and working with it, and you actually watch data moving through these things, you'll see that ideas will spawn, and things will start connecting in your head, and you can watch the webinar again, come back to what we said, and then that'll also just verify stuff for you.
Okay, I think we've answered everybody's questions. If there was a question that we didn't get to, please ping it to me again, and I'll let you carry on, Matt.
Cool. So I'm going to jump out of the webinar now, shut that down over there, and we're going to start having some fun. So what I've done here is I've created a project called End of Tenancy, and what I've got here is I've got Kraken open. Okay, so yeah, we've got End of Tenancy cleaning. I looked at this domain and I was like, woo, very nice. So there's quite a fair amount of traffic running through this site. So I'm going to place these data sets over here, and then over here, what I've done in this example, I use Scrapebox, and I just pushed through a big list of the stuff from my tenancy list that ended like 6,000 keywords. But the only reason why I've done this is not that you must do this. I wanted to show you how much money actually does lie when we look at this. Okay, so here life insurance, £40 a click, and as we get on this list, you can see the life insurance, how much money is flowing through here, but how little searches there are. What happened there? Okay, landlord insurance, 1,627 searches a day, 390,000 competing pages, phrase and match, £21 million market. I will be talking about that. Okay, so that's something that's going to go into my story. Okay, as I go down, I'm not too worried. Home improvement loans, £23 a click. So what we're doing is we're just looking at the money, and the reason why I've done this list is just to give you lots of different types of examples of things that are related to this specific sector. Because remember, we pulled this stuff out and we mapped it. I shouldn't just leave that picture open. I'm going to keep on referring back to it. So I apologize for jumping back. So remember, we broke things down: commercial, cleaners, then we dropped into carpet cleaners, and we did carpet cleaning, and the carpet cleaners do all these services. What I've done is I've taken that, I built up a big keyword list, I ran it through Crack just to get an idea for this example. And there we found another one that's really good: 217 searches a day. And typically what you want to look for this in this market is stuff with low competing pages phrase match, but over 1,000 searches a day. Sorry, a month. If you get over 1,000 searches a month and you get a 1% conversion, you're going to get at least, what's it, 100 or so? No, it's 10 leads a month out of that keyword. Okay, so as we move down, all I'm doing is I'm looking at cost, traffic, competing pages, okay? And I'm looking for things that have got insurance quotes. That's a good one there. So we moved down, building and contents insurance. It's not competitive at all.
I'm definitely working in the wrong country.
Home improvement loan. Like, can you see what I'm talking about here, guys? £16 a click.
I'm going to go ahead and just interject here, because Matt, we need to not assume that everybody understands the tool that you're in right now, and this is a tool that we built and is available separately. I just want to make sure that they understand what TSMV is, and because there are people in this course that have never been exposed to our data.
Oh, sure, okay. Well, at this point, I wasn't talking about the tools for Perfect. What I just wanted to do, I'll come back to you what Kraken does. What I want to do here is I just want to show the guys where the money flows through the market and where the data streams are that we want to sort of consider plugging into.
Well, yeah, I know, and I just want them to understand what that money actually means, because some of them are so large as to be arbitrary to understand what it means. Yeah.
Okay. You can explain the TSMV if you want to, Russ, just so it gets into context with what we're doing here.
Okay, total search market value is something that Sue and I invented before Matt was on board with our company, and was later brought into other tools like Market Samurai and the rest. Essentially, and Sue, you might have to jump in here. It's been like, I got to sweep the cobwebs out of my brain here. But essentially, it was a tool that, it's a number that tells you the total search market value over the course of 1 year. Actually, do you want to just give the exact formula?
Sure. So it's a function of searches and cost per click. So what we do is we multiply the searches by the cost per click, but we're not, when we look at TSMV, we're not just looking at searches itself. We're looking at estimated searches across the entire, the three major search engines. So, you know, we take some estimates there, and we're a little conservative with it. But that's basically, if you owned everything, these days it's really just across two search engines, but if you were in the top 2 slots in both search engines, then there's an amount of traffic that you would be able to own, and that's what that TSMV represents. Now, of course, today it's possible to own a whole lot more than just the top 2 slots.
Oh, yeah.
But
and we'll be showing you some roadblock stuff as well.
Yeah, but it gives you, you know, like a thumb in the sky as to what it is you're looking at in terms of what the value of that keyword would represent to you if you had to pay AdWords cost for all of those searches coming through.
Exactly.
Okay. What I've done is I've just put a sticky note up on the thing to keep a perspective of what we're trying to achieve here. So here we can see how much money is flowing through these markets if we own them, right? And all we're looking for is 20 leads a day, and must make us about $20 a lead. So one of the members contacted me earlier today with regards to yesterday's session, and they asked me, how do we actually adjust this, how do we define the price of a lead? And I put a little thought into that, and if you're not sure and the service isn't over like thousands of pounds for the service, let's just say it's a typical service like garden cleaning, and the average cost per click is like, let's just say £2 a click or $2 a click. You can use that cost per click as a minimum baseline, and then you sort of say, okay, well, if the guy typically does $100 and you take 10% of his cost, the total cost that he charges, that'll be a fair price to ask him, but then he's going to try and knock you down. So for every 100, you can sort of say, I want at least $10 for the lead that's coming in. And then it's the negotiation game. So that's how we sort of justify the prices. However, when we see guys that are paying £20 a click for what they're trying to get, then we know that there's a lot of money, because they might get 100 guys clicking and their cost to get one sale might be £200. Okay, so it's quite interesting how this all works. So as you go through this list, you can see as we get let down, the price decreases, but we also find landlord insurance again. So what I'm doing is I'm looking for, look at this one, car insurance. Okay, wrong market. The insurance stuff dominates. And it's interesting how this comes in when we do this drill. There we go, arrears. Look at that. That's quite interesting, eh? 3 million pages. I'm just looking for the data, whether the searches are and they're high.
I'm going to point out that these searches are searches per day. So when Matt's looking at things that are like a minimum of 1,000 per month, you're looking for like 33 a day. There's also there's a couple of questions while Matt's looking through this. One is, why are we looking at the broad and not at the local at this point? And that's because local keywords are keywords with the locale attached. Don't really demonstrate the values well. Google just isn't going to give you that data on a very large scale. They'll only bring you back 2 or 3 keywords per market that have any cost and traffic with the locale. So what you want to do when you look at it on a national level, everybody uses those keywords, and a lot of times these days they're using those keywords but they're being shown local results, right? So you're going to want to attach either prepend or append your locale to these keywords when you actually put them into your website, but you want to actually look at the market from a national level.
Yeah, guys, you always start national and you work your way backwards down to the locale, because it's a framework. Because remember, with your lead network, you're starting local and you're expanding. So you got to, when you build this out, you got to go from the other way around. You go from national. The end goal is national, so you start there, and you got to work your way back in. And like Sue says, prepend, append, prefix, suffix, the locale, that sorts it out. We did some experiments when we were in the property market with our leads. Found that just by putting the testimonials of clients in the copy area, not in the body, like on the gutters, putting it actually in the copy and putting their postcodes, or 4 letters of the postcode, or 3-4 letters or numbers of the zip code, we're actually getting rankings just off having that postcode in there on the local stuff, even though we never specifically targeted it. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just running through this list here. I'm just going to get down to where things start looking realistic. Wow, look at that, 6,000 searches there on bathroom accessories. Yeah, all I'm doing is I'm looking at what are the things that we can actually assign to contractors that are realistic. Okay, now this is that's office. How did that get in? Interior design, 8,000 searches a day. That'll be a silo category. Sliding doors. Wow, 8,000 searches a day. Electricians are searched for 6,000 times a day in the UK. That's insane, eh? Look at those numbers.
You're looking at the top of the verticals with this.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get an idea of where the search volumes are, because then I know what to actually start focusing on what people are looking for when we look at our list of things that we want to do. Out of these lists, where would we build out first? So we've got end of tenancy. I'm just going to get a feel. I'm just having a look here, seeing what we got. Okay, garage, car insurance, patio doors. Because when you think about patio doors and all this kind of stuff, this is people wanting to do maintenance on their property. They're looking at changing something or putting something new in. Those are the 2 things we're sort of looking at. Kitchen sinks. Wow, look at that one. That is a smoker. Look at that. You can tie it straight to a plumber. 3,616 searches a day. It's got over £1 per click. 64,800 pages. So I will say thank you very much. And I'm just going to actually check this idea into my notepad. Okay. So what I've done here is I've got kitchen sinks, and this can go to plumbing. Okay, and there's one keyword that's got a ton of traffic. Look at that, 64,000 in phrase match. So that's something we'll look at in more detail. That's a lot of searches over there. That's crazy. Okay, so I'm going to go down the list a bit more.
Okay, so what
Still.
you're looking at a lot of different topics. This is an import list, right? Yes.
Yeah. What I've done is I've taken the tangent markers, I've just thrown it through. I also want to see what's sort of got low competing pages, high search volume, and high cost per click.
Right. You know, I'm just going to jump in here for a second because I've noticed a learning gap issue here. Many of you in this course have not been trained on Kraken, and some of you don't even know what it is or where he is. And I actually see that as a challenge. So in this particular module, I think Sue has 2 really excellent training videos on Kraken in general. And it's not to sell you guys the tool, it's just that we actually had to design a tool to be able to do this. So let me interject just quickly here. Kraken is a vertical online market analysis tool that's not a keyword tool. It actually researches markets at a high level. And somebody asked the correct question, which is a good question, is why the heck are you up there in the clouds when, you know, I'm electrician, Wisconsin Dells, Wisconsin, zip code 534, you know, 8394. The reason for that is that in the process of data normalization, which you cannot do by hand, that means just normalizing data and finding out how to swallow your market whole, how to grab every keyword in a locale, how to find out what the pains and the interests are and the uncomfortable markets that are going to become headlines and title tags and all the other things. We've discovered through the years and built $1 million software in order to do it. It's better to start at the top and then find out what children exist in that cloud. Does that make sense? And we actually designed a tool to do it, and it's incredibly cool. So cool, in fact, that it's been very difficult to teach directly. It's an expensive tool, but it's how we actually think, and we're actually going to be showing you how to pull in these basic concepts and do that. So what Matt's doing now, he's highly trained on the use of Kraken, and I actually see that as just a bit of a learning gap. So don't worry about not understanding everything that's happening here. Just know that this will all come back down to the local level, because remember that all you have to do is tack on your local level on patios, you know, on whatever these things that he's kind of doing in advanced research. There's a lot of stuff going on in his head here. You can just tack on the local, Sue calls it tumbling. We can actually add the local stuff to this area and find out what's going on there.
Yeah, so let me just jump in here for a second because, sure. For example, what you're looking at, like right now he's got hardwood floors. Can you just sit on the Kraken screen for a second, Matt? So you got hardwood floors at just over 1 million pages, and you've got patio slabs at 100,000 pages, right? So those things, when you look at it, that's on a national level, and so if you're going to look at it on a city level, it's going to all slide down proportionally. So if you're looking at this for a population of, say, 1 billion people, and within your locale you've just got 1 million people, then you can pretty much just divide all of that by 10, right? So 10, 100,000, sorry, haven't had enough coffee. But you can, what I'm trying to say is that all of that is going to scope down to your locale level more or less proportionally. Now it's not equally proportional all the way across. For example, if you're in LA, if you're looking at nationally at expensive cars and at trucks, then when you look at LA, you're going to have more expensive cars and fewer trucks. And when you look at Phoenix, you're going to have more trucks and fewer expensive cars. So based on your demographic, it will slide a little bit depending on the kind of locale, whether it's, you know, in the country, whether it's a lucrative or a luxurious area, or, you know, demographics, just basic demographics. But on the whole, when you see something that's a golden star kind of a niche type of a thing where you've got low competing pages to a high cost per click and a lot of searches on a national level, it's going to be probably the same thing on your local level.
Oh yeah, right.
Uh-huh.
Well, I was just going to agree with you. And here's the point, Sue, like that I was talking to you about the other day at coffee. This point that we're on here, everyone, is really important for you to understand because we've given you a WordPress plugin that's actually related to this topic, and I don't know why. I've got 5 years trying to teach this, and it's cost me a couple $100,000 to try to teach it, and I just haven't been able to pull it off. So here's the point. When you insert the plugin on the blog, once you've done the research, it doesn't matter. It's better to back yourself into a niche, and a niche and a location are the same thing. And what happens with website silo architecture is that because you created the blog structure in the way that Matt and Sue have designed our plugin to do it, you're actually ranking way 100 times easier using far fewer inbound links than your competition because of the way the site is designed, and now that design is just a simple plugin. So you can actually go, I mean, we have people who are doing really well doing local stuff, but going for national terms because they're siloing. Does that make sense, Sue? Am I pulling it off?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know if I'm pulling it off. Because I always have a... Yeah.
In other words, what we've done is...
Guys,
go ahead.
I'll explain the method in my madness here, guys. Just to speed things up, okay, what I did here was I basically crashed my browser, but I very quickly wanted to see what services are required to fulfill what people are needing to do, okay? And what people are looking for here are kitchen sinks, boilers, patio sets, landscaping plants, biofo doors, building toys, replacement doors, decking lights, patio slabs, solid oak flooring, and then building insulation. So out of the majority of the stuff that is come back from this list, it's all maintenance and upgrade stuff, which is very interesting because that's what Sue said yesterday. She made a note about this. So I've just grabbed a short list here, and based on where we are in this current environment, the reason why I just did this quick SWOT test to sort of see what's going on, it's just like a little swab, checked it, what's going on. Most of the searches are maintenance. So thinking about that, with our project in mind, I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind. That's the reason why I just went through that process. I don't want to confuse you guys. It was purely just to demonstrate two things. One, I've just had a look to see what people are looking for. Because remember on yesterday's slides, one of the main points was what do people want? Where is their interest? What are they looking for? Because we've got to find what those people are looking for to get them to actually, how can I say this, to get them to fill in the form. So if you look at this, right, and this tells us that most of the guys are wanting things put in, okay? So probably the buying process is they're going to basically do their research online. They're probably going to buy their goods at the hardware shop. Then they're going to basically look for someone to install it. And when I look at installation, this is where we basically got to tap into where these guys are locally. Okay.
So you've got quite a diverse set of stuff here. You've got kitchen sinks, you've got combi boilers, and you've got patio sets. Now you're looking at this from the perspective of the landlord.
I just wanted to go online and see where the people actually is what they're searching for. For the landlords, it's pretty basic, but I'm trying to cover two things. We're dealing with one thing there, but it's also for guys who wanted to start building leads and they got no idea where to start. I'm sort of going right to the beginning.
Yeah, and I know how well trained you are, and I'm just saying that for beginners, I'm gonna be the one ending up filling in the gaps between the market research and the keyword research, which is what you combined here. And so I just want to break that down. Matt has already exposed the market research here without necessarily going through all the process. He's actually given you right there that research online to buy goods, to look for it. That's really part of what we call the ISDNA, or the frequently asked questions and should ask questions. And I don't really feel like we've given them enough training to really understand how you got from those questions to the keywords. And so I'll fill in some areas in there in the members area on how to do that. But this has to do with yesterday when we talked about the pains. And also, you've accelerated because we have to get directly to the website. And we'll go back and fill this in for you guys, okay? Obviously, this is why we're doing this. It's good. When you jump from the market research to the keyword research that Matt has done, he actually did an import function, which I consider an advanced technique. And that import function into Kraken just gives him an idea of the cost and how much money is running through those segments that we exposed yesterday, which again have to do with the market research. And that market research is when there's an uncomfortable situation, and everybody remembers, let's remind them, Matt, what that was. That uncomfortable situation was the tenancy, ending of the tenancy, right? So again, it's a little abstract here because I want our users to remember that we're in market research mode, and that the end of tenancy is you are in your mind because you know the industry so well. We haven't really gone through the research process fully, but we'll give you a couple methods whereby you can do that and lay that out before you jump into your keyword research. Was there any questions on that, Sue? Are people following that?
I'm lost. So that's why I'm trying to ask him questions so that I can figure out what it is he's doing. I mean, admittedly, I got my head in other people's questions from time to time, but if I can just ask
all I did
was
I'll backtrack, right? All I did was I took the keywords that we basically mapped out here with all the services.
Yeah.
Just looking for the right one. We had cleaners, painters, carpenters, blah, blah, blah. These are the people that work in the end of tenancy sector.
Right.
All I've done is I basically created a keyword list. I've imported it into Kraken.
How did you create it? How did you create a keyword? Okay, so you created a keyword list that was cleaners, painters, carpenters, or carpets, carpenters, builders. That was your keyword list?
Yeah. But this is ISDNA, and you didn't explain how you went through it. So this is what we need to do, and if we need to put it in the members area.
So hang on just a sec. So how did you get from cleaners and painters to these keywords that are on that little spreadsheet that you've got there?
Because, I want to explain it to the guys.
All right.
Yes, I created a bulk list just with lots of stuff. So we can see we've got tons of segmentation. So what I do is it's just an advanced trick with Scrapebox where you basically put your segment list in here. That runs off and fetches all the stuff from Google that are related to it. I then push this list through, but what it gives me is a list of all the things that are associated. So like under carpet cleaning, we can see the locales, we can see brushes, what the guy's looking for. Then I basically go in and I basically look at that list and I say, okay, where is the searches? What are people looking for? What are they spending money for? And what are people actually paying to increase the pay-per-click?
Okay, so slow down. So you went from Scrapebox to Google. And how did you get the keywords out of Google? What was Scrapebox doing?
It just takes this list over here.
Yeah.
And it runs through each one and it scrapes all the keywords.
You in the keyword estimator tool or in the keyword tool? Where? Out of where?
It's also the keyword tool.
Okay, so you put each one of those keywords into the keyword tool and you scrape back. You captured all of the keywords that came back out of Google doing that.
Yes.
Okay.
That is create a list. I didn't really want to go into this.
And then you import.
What I wanted to.
Well, yeah, but you can't just do stuff behind the screen. People are going to come back and ask me questions. I'm going to be stuck in the hot seat. So, so you grabbed all of these keywords, and then you threw this entire list of keywords into Kraken as an import list?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and that was the list that we were just looking at.
Yes. So it's gone and has shown me where all the search volume and stuff is. But the reason why I do that, let's put that there. Typically, the reason why I do that is just to get an idea of what's actually going on. And what I've seen here is just by looking at the keywords that are coming back, they've got a lot of search volume. Like people are searching on sinks, kitchen. They want to change their stuff 3,616 times a day, and it's only got 64,000 pages completing. That could be a good place to inject a plumbing lead into that whole thing. Do you need your kitchen replaced? Blah, blah, blah. Fill in this form now. Combi boilers. In the UK, they have boilers that will heat up their water and the central heating. There's nearly 2,000 searches on that a day. It's under 500,000. It's like not that much. Patio sets, that's the summertime stuff. Replacement doors. I was surprised at the amount of searches a day there. 891 times a day people are searching for doors. and it's only got 200,000 competing pages. So the point here is when you're starting from scratch and you don't know how to go about doing all this kind of stuff, this is one way you can do it, is you just create a big list and you push it through the keyword tool and you look for a fairly high cost per click, at least 1,000 searches a day. Now this one's going to have nearly 10,000 searches a month, sorry. We're looking for 1,000. And look at that, it's ridiculous. Now for our plumbing part of our website, that's something we can go and tack into the actual plumbing channel over here. We've got a strategy for creating leads on kitchen sinks. We know there's an interest over there. So
hi,
I
Matt.
do apologize for our confusion.
No, it's okay. No, it's okay, Matt. I got a question coming in. No,
yeah?
we are not recommending that you use Scrapebox, and this is a technique that Matt is using. We're going to be showing you. You can actually, use any qualified keyword tool. He was actually doing an accelerated demonstration. Scrapebox is not something that we recommend, and we have our own tools that we show you do it. He just wanted to give you a massive list very quickly, and some of you have a variety of different keyword tools, so just consider that one of
Scrapebox isn't really a keyword tool. He's using it to rapidly collect keywords.
I'm aware of that, and other people do it as well. I'm just saying that that is not our software.
Yeah.
We're not recommending it, and it's not part of the process we're recommending. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, guys, I just did this to get to the end result. It's the end result I wanted to show you. Just we didn't have time, so I had to do things really fast. So what we're doing here, the process is we basically see the guys that are researching online, they're buying probably goods, and they're looking for installation. This is where we want to tap into the data sets. So if you remember yesterday's slide when we looked at the things that drive the web, that's where we want to be. And we need to create our story around kitchen sinks or sinks kitchen, and then tap in the services and see how we can actually break into that market, okay? Because that's a good one to generate leads for plumbers, the guys that do the actual installation, or even tilers. Tilers will be doing it as well. Solid oak flooring, there's a lot of search as well. And then building installation, there's a lot of searches on this for people putting installation into their houses. It's quite interesting that 27,000 pages, but it's got a lot of searches a day. Now there's the local builders, or the guys that actually go and put it in the houses. So there we can actually drive leads really quickly. And this is all related to what we're doing. Now coming back to the story of what we've got over here, end of tenancy, I'm going to start bringing the stuff in. I'm coming back to the story. So I didn't mean to get the guys all rattled while we're going to the national and all that kind of stuff. Yes, it has opened a lot of important questions. To cover that point, we start at the top and we work our way back, okay? Because when we bought our lead engine, we're starting at the local and we're expanding it. And we're expanding it and expanding it until we actually swallow up the whole national area if we can. That should be the final goal. And that's why we work it from a national level back, okay? Just to get an idea of things. So end of tenancy, I've got a keyword list on my desktop. I'm going to open it up quickly. I'm just going to save that quickly as a CSV file. Okay. So when I import stuff into DWS, I always just double check that it's a CSV file. And when I import it in, what I imported in is phrase match, and the searches are for a monthly value. That's what I'm doing. Okay. So I'm just going to cover there's our end of tenancy list over there. I'm going to import that as well. So what I do is I go onto import keyword data, and where I am at now, I'm in the Silo framework screen within Domain Name Studio. And I'm going to bring in that keyword there. I've done this drill for Market Samurai for the guys who use this tool. And I'm importing the listing from the desktop.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Oh, my record button seems to have gotten stuck. Wait, no. Sorry, go ahead.
So while that's coming in, I'm going to hop across to Kraken. And what I'm doing here, guys, I'm just showing you how DWS works with different tools and different things. So in Kraken, when you click on all keywords in Kraken, it gives you a nice list of keywords. I'm going to bring that in. Here's all our end of tenancy keywords. And I'm going to come back to this chart, and we're going to actually look at this and have a chat about this. And this is where we're going to actually start talking about this market and how we're going to build it out. Okay, so I'm just going to export this out. The reason why I'm doing end of tenancy cleaning is because that's where the pain is the highest, okay? when your house is left in a mess, it costs you on average between £2,000 to £4,000 just to clean up and get the house ready for renting out again. It's really expensive. So there's a whole bunch of keywords in. I'm going to come and import that list of Kraken keywords over there. That one there. So I'm selecting Kraken Voma. I click import. And while it's doing that, I'm going to come back and have a look at this. Now, this bubble chart here basically defines how the market's segmented, okay? So the bubbles on the top are greater than, if we hover over this, you'll see it says 67 million pages for competing, okay? This is a parent of end of tenancy. This is a keyword we're looking at. And there's our top level keyword. So we're going to DWS.
Can we hang on for a second?
At the top of the tree, I've got end of tenancy. Yeah?
Yeah, you said parent, but it doesn't really, like what I want to say is end of tenancy cleaning is a market segment of cleaning. So that's what he's talking about, this parent-child relationship. What that bubble shows you is that the things on top are all markets in which end of tenancy cleaning is a segment of those markets.
That's a theme. Yeah. So if you think of the pie,
I mean it's a segment. It's a chunk of those markets up there.
Yeah.
You know, it's a theme within it. Go ahead.
So if you think of a big pie and we cut it up into 8 pieces, those 8 pieces would be the market categories that define the market. Then if we take those 8 pieces, we take one of them and we chop them up, those will be segments of the market. And if we take a segment and we chop it up, it'll be a theme. So what Sue's saying is this is basically a part of the cleaner and cleaners market. They work in the sector over here. So we've got end of tenancy right over here of tenancy cleaning and end of tenancy cleaning services. So that's actually a good keyword over there.
Yeah, it is. It's actually got more competing pages than end of tenancy cleaning.
Yeah.
You can tell because it's to the left.
Yeah, that would be super local term.
So these ones here at the bottom are what are breaking out of that sector over there. So you can see the locales are coming in local there, there's local over there, and there's local over there. So do you sort of understand why we've sort of gone a bit up in the rankings to look at the keywords? So what I'm going to do with this list is I'm going to look through it quickly, and I'm going to click on the searches column. I want to see what people are actually looking for over here, just to get a quick scan of what's going on here. Cleaning services. I want to understand what's the words the people are using. What are those micro thoughts? So carpet cleaners, carpet cleaning. That's got the most searches out of all of this type of stuff. So that's something I want to add into my blueprint is carpet cleaning. Okay.
Definitely.
330 searches a day. Carpet cleaners is another one I want to put into there. Window cleaning is huge. Look at that. Cleaning services. This could be domestic or residential. I mean commercial.
Cleaning services. I'm doing both.
Well, look at the pay-per-click difference on services with the S.
Yep.
And the searches as well. So I'm going to switch it out for that. So what I'm doing here, guys, is I'm just running through a list. I'm looking what people are looking for. What are they typing in? Home cleaning, home cleaning. Nearly 100 searches a day. How's that? House cleaning. House cleaning is probably better. Building maintenance is coming here. That's with a fair whack of change, eh? Cleaning company. Domestic cleaning.
Well, that's an interesting anomaly. Somebody just asked me why the pay-per-click searches are larger than the actual searches themselves. Well, I haven't seen that before.
Which one is that?
Oh, there's a lot of them. Oven cleaning, for example, is 113, and natural searches is 54.3. I'll have to check into that. I don't know. 2 weeks ago.
Oh, right.
So I'll geez Louise. I'll have to go back and take a look. I don't know if that's Google being funky or if they've changed something and we need to update our algorithms. There was somebody else who asked basically how Matt has come up with the pains in the marketplace, whether he did research on Quora or what he did. And I have to say, Matt has owned property. He's intimately familiar with the pains in the marketplace.
Yes,
he is a subject matter expert.
That's what I was trying to Yeah, that's what I was trying to emphasize, is that that leads it to me to put some surprises in the members area for you guys about how to do this, because it's really interesting when you're an expert already, and he is, it's very, very different, and that's why I was jumping in there all rattled, because my focus in the company is on market research, and there's a big learning gap or a big jump from keyword research. As you guys know, there's a huge difference between market research and keyword research. And since Matt is a walking and breathing market research data source for tenancy, it leaves a little bit of a gap, which we're probably not going to cover before we get to building the site. So just pause on that and know that we do have inside the regular members area, which is not a part of this course this time. We'll bring a few items in here. We have the core course and the software that we're developing, and that's exactly the right question. If you weren't Matt and you didn't have all this knowledge about what kind of pains and discomfort somebody who's at end of tenancy or who is dealing with that issue of end of tenancy is going through, then we go to a couple of different sources. We go to Quora. We research on a few different other platforms, which we'll reveal to you, and that's the way that you want to get in there. And what's really cool is you begin to find all of those things at once. You'll find several of the associations or issues that, by using what we call the frequently asked questions and should ask questions, as well as the pain behind the question, you'll know exactly what those types of things are, which is how Matt, jumped to those conclusions about carpet. Because at the end of tenancy, what's messy? Your carpet, right? Well, on Quora, you would find, how do you deal with renovation after the end of tenancy? And not just Quora, but other locations. You begin to find the murmur of the questions and the pains. So that's just something for you to keep in mind, that he's jumped because he's an expert in this topic.
Yeah, it's interesting.
If nothing of... Sorry, Karen?
I was just going to say that as you're going through this, since I've also got real estate, but we're in radically different countries, your pains are different from my pains, and it's this, what you're picking out has really augmented that. And somebody just made a comment about mold services, and I'm like, yeah, that's not actually my pain, since I live in the desert too. So it's fascinating
But in Wisconsin, it was big time.
Exactly. And so it's fascinating how the locale, how you need to have a lot of subject matter expertise on your exact locale to really make it, that's what makes the locale stuff so cool, and why you can provide a service better than what a national directory or something at a national level would do.
Yeah, and one last thing, because I don't want to take any more time on this issue, because we'll cover it, but David Bullock once told me that his main way of doing this, I think it was at SEO Rainmaker or something like that, Florida. His main way of doing it, it takes him 5 minutes to determine everything that Matt just showed you on that other thing. He actually picks up the phone, and he calls the #1 competitor in that industry, and in a particular issue for him was the trucking industry, which was how to track the trucks, and they were trying to do energy conservation for the trucking industry. Just picked up the phone and talked to the person who was in the most pain about it, which is essentially the guys in the garage, how they're dealing with the gas. And he asked them what their 3 biggest pains were, and the guy just told them, on the phone, didn't even know who he was.
Yeah.
And it was a very local, specific issue. So again, we're not limiting these to digital acquisition of this information. So this is all part of the research process.
Yeah, guys. If you're coming to something you don't know about it, basically, like I said in the other slides, all I do is I'll drill into keyword end of tenancy, and what I'll do is I'll look at the cost per click. Where's the money being spent by advertisers? I look at what are the searches are. Are people actually searching for that word? And if the person who's searching on that word, what's the chances of them actually, if I put them myself in their position, would I actually fill that form in? And you can actually start drilling into these keywords, you look a bit deeper into them. So it's quite interesting that the guys are going residential cleaning services, £31 a click is what they're charging. But there's only 8 searches a month on this. So that keyword must be converting really, really hard for the guys to actually target it. But look at that, 23,000 pages. So this will be a keyword I'll add as a category underneath the cleaning services silo, and we'll just get ranked for it and scoop up whatever we got over there. Because there's no competition. Here's another one, cleaning companies in. So this is where we'll build out our geo-targeted. We have our stuff, cleaning companies in this, in that place, in this place, in that place. End of tenancy cleaning. There's a lot of money being spent over here. This is all I'm looking for, is where's the money being spent? what they're spending money on, and how is the actual keyword constructed. And then what we're going to do now in DWS is when I look at this, so I've imported the keywords from those two lists, and I go to my business rules and filters, and I've got my default settings over here, but basically what I've put in is I've put £20 is what I'm trying to get for this, okay? And what it tells me is I've got to find 37,000 searches a month to achieve my £15,000 goal a month, okay? So I've got all that information in there. For you guys who are not familiar with DWS, we go into a lot of detail on the webinars, showing every screen, we're talking about it. Russell, what's that URL again on the members area where they can watch the videos in detail? It's networkempire.com/members-dashboard, is it? Or what's it?
Members-area?
Yeah, members-area.
Yeah, networkempire.com/members-area. We'll go ahead and see if I can post that on the screen for everyone.
They'll give you a lot of information about DWS. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually build this site. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my parent keyword. This is the keyword. This is like the index page of the website. So I select it, and then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to basically go through my list. And what DWS has done is it's actually ranked and sorted all my keywords for me. And I want to look at this column here, conversions. And as I'm looking at that, I'm paying attention to the competing pages, okay? So the cleaning market, that's just huge. I'm not interested in that, but I want to get rid of that, and that. It's just skewing things. So I'm going to get rid of that, and I'll just delete those quickly. And while I'm waiting for that to delete, what happens is all the best keywords float to the top, and we can see how much money they're actually worth to us. And we can also start seeing how long it's going to take us to get ranked for those keywords. So carpet cleaning, it's 19 million pages. So if we took carpet cleaning, for example, and we just say carpet cleaning Glasgow, just an example, this is where we're speaking about the modifiers. We look at that in phrase match. It's under 100,000 pages competing. So there's going to be a lot of search on that, and we can see that there's interest in this keyword. It's got a high buyer's intent by the little note we see over here. There's £5 a click being spent on that there. And when we come from a local level, this keyword is going to actually work quite nice. So essentially all I'm going to do is I'm going to select that, and with DWS, when we work with silo architecture, the system tells you if it's a silo by saying an S, if it's a category, it'll say C, and if it's a supporting article, it'll give it an SA, okay? The other cool thing about what this does here is it tells us if it's got high buyer's intent, medium buyer's intent, or if it's an information-based keyword. So when we think of the story end of tenancy, what are the things that I need to get done to rent out the house again? I need the carpets cleaned. I need the windows cleaned. I'm going to need cleaning services. And what I'm looking at here is the conversions. When I get ranked for these keywords, okay, it's saying we get ranked in 20 months, 19 months. With silo structures, we can get ranked much faster for this, okay? So I'm going to show you the few little tricks we're going to do. Let me just run through this list and map out our silos. Domestic cleaning, cleaning supplies, office cleaning. 100 conversions a month. Tenancy cleaning. There we go. 91 leads a month for tenancy cleaning. Wow, check those two. 18,000 pages. Sorry, 18,000 searches a month just on tenancy and tenancy cleaning. So I'll take that there. I'll take that one off for now. And all I'm going through the list, and I'm looking at the things that we can actually tap into for the cleaning for tenancy. Okay. I'm going to start at end of Tennessee because I want to get this set up really quickly. So I'll leave those carpet cleaner ones for later on. We can build into that. So yeah, end of Tennessee cleaning, to get this really local nice. It's 1 million pages. It opens up the whole market. It falls in with our theme. So I'm going to move that into the blueprint. I'll click on the button. And I know that with that keyword, we already got 91 potential conversions a month, okay? And it's 1 million pages.
How do you calculate the conversions?
Conversions,
Mm-hmm.
it's through our funnel. So if we get 25% of the traffic, and we get basically a 2% conversion, and we're getting $20, that's how it calculates the conversions. So it's the traffic times 25 times the 2% for our on-page conversion rate. That gives us our conversions.
So you set those up in the business rules, and then it does the calculation for each keyword.
Yeah. So all we're doing is looking at where the high conversions are, and then where's the keyword?
And I would recommend for those of you who are using DWS that you attend our Wednesday webinars, which are free. We go into this quite a bit deeper. Also, there we have great training.
Yeah, we got replays on those too.
Yeah, and the replays are also excellent. So when Matt's traveling, you can just go to the members.
So all I'm going to do now, guys, is I've mapped out my silo, end of tenancy, and now I'm going to click on that keyword over there, and I'm going to map out the end of tenancy story because I really want to focus on that sector there. From that sector, we're going to basically get the website live, and then we're going to basically move into driving traffic to that. Once that's working, we'll then start moving on to the next section of that and expanding. So if I look at all the tenancy keywords, I just type tenancy in here, and I run a quick filter here. And what we've got here is a silo that's been mapped out. Okay, and when we look at this next, we've got end of tenancy, we've got tenancy cleaning. That's got another 91 conversions. I'm going to put that in there. Okay, so what I've done now is I've selected the end of tenancy, I've selected 3 keywords. I'm going to move them into my blueprint. Okay, so when we open that up, we've got end of tenancy, we've got end of tenancy cleaning, cleaning prices, and cleaners. Okay, so when I click on end of tenancy cleaning, I'm actually going to assign synonyms to this keyword so that when we come to write the articles, we've got our synonyms pre-assigned. Okay, so our keyword is end of tenancy cleaning. So I've got tenancy cleaning, tenancy cleaners, end of tenancy clean, and tenancy cleaning services. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say bind these as supporting keywords. Okay. And what that's going to do is going to actually bind those words I've taken there to the actual keyword, end of tenancy. End of tenancy prices.
Could you, as you're picking stuff, could you be a little bit more descriptive about why you're picking what you're doing?
Sure. Basically what I'm doing, guys, is when I look at a word in the node over here, I'm looking at words that are end of tendency cleaning process. So I'm thinking of what words I can use when I write my copy that will very clearly define the end of tendency process. So I want to use end of tendency cleaning services as words, and I want to use professional end of tendency cleaning as a word. And what this is doing, it's basically building up a synonymic set. I'm going to be using tendency cleaning services as a word on it. This will also double up to be my anchor text that's being used. Now, because we know these keywords are good, we know they've got conversions and search volume tied to them, and there's cost on most of these things here. These are good keywords to get ranked for when we're actually doing this. Okay, so I click on add-on supporting keywords, and when this page reloads, I'm just going to open up another little grid which shows us the layout of the site as we're actually going on. So this link over here, view solid frame blueprint, okay, when I open this up, it gives us our plan. When we look at this with end of tendency, now if you think of this as the campaign, okay, this is the page on the website. We're going to have end of tendency cleaners, end of tendency cleaning prices, end of tendency cleaning. When we drop into end of tendency cleaning, we can have end of tendency clean, end of tendency cleaners, tendency cleaning services. The end of tendency cleaning prices, we're going to have end of tendency cleaning services, professional end of tendency cleaning, and tendency cleaning services. And when we write our articles, these are going to be words we're going to be using. Okay, so I'm just picking one or two words. So end of tendency cleaners, I actually want to go look for words that have cleaners in it. Okay, so I press Control F and I type in cleaners, and there we can see them highlighted. So it's going to go highlight. So we have tendency cleaners, and the other two are locale type of things. Tendency cleaning services, and then post-tendency cleaning services and pre-tendency cleaning services. I'll take those, I'm going to bind those as supporting keywords. So from the end of tendency perspective, from the cleaning perspective, what I've done is I've mapped out the cleaning part of it. So now I can get rid of this tendency thing here, and we can just type in carpet. And I'm started at the top of my list. So we've done cleaners. So actually I skipped painters, but I've just gone carpet now. So what I'm looking for now is the types of services that we can actually put in underneath here. So when we look at carpet, if we look at end of tendency, that's 1 million pages. So I don't want to have keywords bigger than 1 million pages. So I'm just going to type in 1 million over here. And when I click submit, it's going to filter out the keywords that are greater than 1 million pages and give me the things that are sitting underneath there. And we can see if there's anything worthwhile looking at. So with carpet shampoo, carpet machines, carpet cleaning London. Yeah, we'll have to add another silo to the site. I don't really want to do that right now.
Well, the other
so
thing that you
looking
could
at
do
this now
is take all of your carpet cleaning terms. The other thing that you could do is take all of your carpet cleaning terms there, and if you put the locale in with them, then it will make your. I don't know if that's not really the approach you're taking with this, though, is it? You're doing more of a national.
Well, when you go local, and I'm going to be putting the local in the supporting articles. So I want this to get ranked at the national level. I want to be at the end of tendency, but I want to start at local first and back my way into the market.
Okay.
So the strategy I want to take here is underneath the actual category level, I want to put the supporting articles in with the modifiers.
I see.
So we'll have end of tendency cleaning in Hamilton, and we'll put them in there. And we sort of merge the locales under the actual category service.
I see.
Then we've got the prices for information, and then we've got end of tendency cleaners, and we can have pictures of the cleaners and what the services are that we actually provide.
So you
actually, end of tendency cleaners.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking there, I could actually move the carpet cleaning underneath the services, end of cleaning services. So I'm just going to change this quickly. because everything we're doing is service. We're wanting to get the guys who are looking for services. From our research all there, typically the guys are going online, they're buying goods and they're looking for installation or something done. So I need to stay in that mindset and not get, there we go, cleaning services.
So why do you have end of tenancy as your main theme for the site and then end of tenancy, the same keyword again, as your silo?
I haven't defined that one yet. I just put it in as a placeholder.
Okay.
So I haven't really crystallized that yet.
Okay.
Kraken sort of said to us that's the top part of the vertical over here. We can sort of see it over there. So we're sort of sitting down here.
Okay.
But what I'm doing, guys, is I'm just mapping this idea together pretty quickly. Oh, there we go. There's a nice one, but it's not worth much money. 33 conversions. That'll make us how much in a year? £7,000. That's just on rankings. Office cleaning services, that's what I'm looking for. So services is not much money in it with how much profit we got. So if I come back to our business and filter rules, because we're only earning $20 over here, the system's saying to us that it's initially there's not money up front, okay? What we have to first pay off the IT debt of creating the page, then within a year we'll make $3,000 there, we'll make another $4K there, so that adds up. Tenancy cleaning services, tenancy cleaning services, tenancy cleaning services, that'll be a good one. End of tenancy. Tenancy cleaning services.
Oh, somebody
Let me get away
else.
from this.
Somebody asked how
Yes?
I calculated the revenue. And basically what it's doing is it's taking the searches and your business rules that you put in about what the conversions were going to be, and then you also put in how much you're going to make off of a sale. So it's going to look at those conversions and multiply it by what you make off of a sale, and that's how it calculates the revenue.
Okay, I was going to jump into this quickly here. I'll just drill out another quickly while I'm doing this.
Okay. Oh,
Pretty much
No,
the
you're
end of
not.
tenancy cleaning stuff's done. What?
you're not going to drill anything out and crack it at the moment. Kelly's got the hood open.
It's not working. Right, I guess I have to go to your favorite tool.
I'm not going to watch.
Dun, dun, dun. If I can find it. Right, so end of tenancy cleaning, we've sort of got it covered. We've seen here with our keyword grid that there's not much space over here, okay? But looking at this what we got here at the moment under our budget, our developer cost, we're only going to spend £672 on this, but monthly, once we pay off our debt, we're going to make roughly £3,499 a month just off those keywords over there, based on the conversions, which is pretty good considering. And that business is going to make us £41,000 a year based on the conversions that we have mapped out and once we rank for these. So things are looking pretty good, and we've only selected 4 or 5 keywords. So if I think of the end of the tenancy thing, I want to get cleaned. The carpets is a big part of this whole thing because typically you've got to replace carpets and that when people move out if they've made a mess. So carpet cleaners might be a good one. That's still a good one. Yeah, there we go. Carpet cleaners. That's going to become a silo because it's quite big itself. So I'm going to put that in over here. So as I'm working through the story, guys, I keep on looking back at what I've mapped out, and I try and get 5 or 6 or 7 pages around the primary things that we have to do in that sector, especially if it's local based. And it's usually painting and carpets, or cleaning carpets, and cleaning the house. Those are the 3 primary things. So I want to get those live as soon as possible. So I'm going to go to carpet cleaners. I'm going to move that into the blueprint. End of tenancy cleaning.
So one of our members asked, does it still matter the hierarchy of the levels of the keywords with competing pages? So the idea is that the silo landing page has got the most number of competing pages, and the category pages underneath that have a smaller number of competing pages, and then the supporting article pages under that have an even smaller number of competing pages. And what my thinking is with competing pages is that it shows the volume of the conversation that's going on around that keyword. And so it gives you kind of a natural hierarchy. Now, it's not something that's set in stone, because oftentimes you get into markets where the keyword that you really want for your silo landing page is a more obscure topic than the things underneath it. Antioxidants are a perfect example of that. The term antioxidant isn't really a popular term. It's not nearly as popular as a lot of the actual antioxidants are. So, because some of the antioxidants are picked up in other categories like the diet market and some stuff like that, you end up with things like green tea and with acai and stuff like that that are just huge. But if you're doing a wellness site and one of your silos is antioxidants, then obviously that's the term you're going to use. And so you, as a knowledge worker within that market, or as a subject matter expert, you're just going to know that that belongs under that topic regardless of the numbers of competing pages. And so that's why Domain Web Studio is a little bit more fluid environment. I built Kraken just a little bit too rigid on the blueprint section. And so we removed that rigidity from Domain Web Studio so that you could work around it, but I would still consider it when you build out your websites. Is there an ideal number of categories for the silo? When you're looking at Domain Web Studio, it tells you the recommended number of, it's called SSAs is the category headed, suggested supporting articles for that particular keyword. And that's going to give you an idea of how many pages you need on your website to support that theme. And so that's going to tell you, if you go, I would go with categories only, if possible. Obviously, sometimes you're going to need the supporting article level, but when you put in that supporting article level, unless you do some funky stuff with PageRank sculpting, it's going to draw some of the PageRank away from the silo landing page. So I don't go for that third level. Obviously, if I'm in products where I've got like child's clothing as my silo, and I really don't care whether or not I rank for child's clothing, but I really want to rank for that particular brand of kids sneakers, or whatever sneakers are possibly popular these days, then obviously you need that supporting article level where you've got that space for that actual product.
Okay, what I'm doing now is I'm just going to create a quick list. File new, where's this? Control.
British Knights.
Okay, so I'm going to copy up these locales I got you. These are all the cities in Scotland. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick that in here. And I'm going to say and then I want to copy the keyword from DWS, and I want to get these drilled out. So the keyword I want to do is professional carpet cleaners. I'm going to do carpet cleaners in and I'm just going to basically say that's equal to the concatenation. So when you use that, guys, there, you just hold your control key down, and what it does is it allows you to rapidly just map out stuff with geo modifiers on them. So when I copy this one down here now, That gives me all my geo-modified keywords. I'm going to hop across to the keyword tool. I'm going to enter tendency. Keyword generation. I want to add these keywords. And there, actually, sorry, I need a new keyword. It's carpet cleaners. And I'm going to look at what's got search volume, where the interest lies. So I'll add those keywords in there. So there we've got all the keywords over here for carpet cleaners. What I'm doing is phrase match, monthly, and I'm only interested in the searches. I want the PPC data, and I want the competition, and I don't want that. So I'm going to click Analyze Keywords now. And while that's fetching it out, this is what we're basically going to do now. Is I'm not going to go much further than it because I want to get the site live. Looking at this data, I know that carpet cleaners is one of the things where we get a lot of work from that. End of tenancy is another thing where we get a lot of work just with the conversions that we're seeing. So if we hover over this, we can see that we need 6 supporting articles under end of tenancy, and under carpet cleaners, we need about 10 supporting articles underneath that. So under carpet cleaners, we've got professional carpet cleaners. Then I'm going to say carpet cleaners in, and I'm going to put our geo-modified keywords in there that has got search volume for the areas that we're going to target. I just want to see what it's got. So I'm looking for some more things for end of tenancy. So I'm going to just go through my list again, and I'll see what keywords I got back with painting in it, the word paint, to see if there's anything got to do with that there. And if it hasn't, we just basically look for more of end of painting service, end of tenancy services. So you've got nothing with paint. I don't think they'll be there. So end of tenancy. What else can I put in here? End of tenancy cleaning. Let's do a quick search on this. See what comes back.
Window cleaners.
How's that? It's all Gumtree, eh? Wow, standing wide open. Shop windows, retail shop, end of tenancy, Glasgow. 1, 2, 3. Those guys got 3 listings on this page. This market's standing wide open. It's just ridiculous how it is. So look at this Gumtree quick. These guys are charging best service in Glasgow from $45 a day. There we go. 3 bed, $6. So your leads that you can charge these people basically £4 to £7 a lead. They're charging £9 per hour, and what they do is they do it over and over and over again. Okay, that's quite interesting.
So do you charge 10% per lead or 10% per sale?
Well, I don't think you'll be able to control that because once you sold the lead to them and they've picked up the client will be dealing with them directly, so you're sort of out of the loop. It will be a hard thing to sort of monitor.
Well, my thing is, are you charging them 10% per lead? That seems kind of high.
I'm just using a thumbs up. At the most, if your top level barrier is 10%, at the most you get £4. But this is someone on Gumtree. They're not a professional company because they're advertising over here. Most of these people are just like mums and that go and clean other people's houses.
So Gumtree, is that like Craigslist?
So, yeah, it's almost like a Craigslist thing.
Okay.
So this whole thing's dominated by Gumtree, the whole end of Tennessee, Glasgow. So I think this website will get ranked really, really quickly. I want to get to landlords. That's really where I want to get to. I want to get to those guys. And the idea behind this whole website is they basically contact us, and then the guys I've spoken to, I just coordinate the leads with them, and I put my 10% on top of the price what gets quoted. And for the bolt-on services, I take my 10% of whatever they charge. So for like a typical gas safety check, you pay £70. So there's a £7 I can get over there. And the guys I've spoken to are pretty happy with that. So let's see if this.
Yeah, because you're running a little bit of a different model, right? You're actually closing the sale for them.
Well, I'm not actually going to speak to people. This is quite interesting. The local search is very, very low, like 28 in the big cities. So it's Edinburgh and Glasgow, the two places where this sort of basically happens. If you look at all the other cities, Barhead,
Yeah, I gotta say, like, I don't know exactly how Market Samurai pulls their keywords back, but if you push all of those keywords through at the same time in Google AdWords and the keyword and the estimator tool, it'll only bring you back a few keywords with cost and traffic, the ones that those locales that really dominate the market, and everything else will show you zeros.
Yeah, this is where we got you tons of zeros.
Yeah.
So typically when we do this type of stuff, this is why we sort of go up and high in the market, but then we put our locales in that have got search, and it's in the areas that we want to be, and then from that point onwards we just map it out. Okay, so I wonder what we should use too. I wonder if I should just do a video where we actually map out the rest of the stuff, and I just talk to the guys through what I'm going to do next, and
Sure.
we actually come back and show when what's that guy's name, Gary or Greg or George? Who writes the content? George, yeah. We're going to get George in, and he's going to actually write the content for this website. So just to save time, I don't want to sit you forever. I'm going to record. I'm going to get George. I'm going to do some videos where I say, look, this is what I'm doing with George. And I sign contact to George, get him in. He's going to write the stuff, and then basically we're going to publish the website. But moving forward, I'm going to actually show you what's the package we've gotten here for you guys, because actually we'll spend so much time just talking about that process. I want to get you actually, you see where we,
Yeah.
where the theme comes in and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. So while you're getting your screens straightened out there, let me just say a couple of things, because I've had a couple of questions about the best way to get keywords on a local level, and that's one of the reasons why in Theme Zoom's tools what we do is we run the keyword list 2 or 3 times. So we'll run the keyword list once, and it'll bring you back the most profitable terms. It'll bring you back values with the most profitable terms. And then we take everything that came back zeros and we run it again. And we get a lot more data back that way. And we'll run it sometimes up to 3 times to try and get values for as many keywords as possible. On TLKT, you'll still see we show you all of the keywords, regardless of whether or not it came back with cost and traffic. So, so you get a lot more information. Well, you get a lot more keywords there, and you can see a lot more about what's going on in Kraken, because we're looking at that as market analysis. We sort out everything that doesn't eventually give us cost and traffic, because we're looking for the things that are important to the market rather than just a keyword tool. So that's the difference between those two. So yeah, with the local markets, I would be more inclined to use TLKT because it's going to bring you back more information. But I would also do what I actually do. The way that I actually approach it is I do the keyword research on the national level, and then I take that list of keywords, I prepend and append the locale, I run it through an import on either TLKT or Kraken, and let it bring me back the data that it's going to bring me back, because when you run an import, it's going to bring you back all the data for all the keywords regardless. And then I pick and choose out of that list the keywords that I want to use. Usually I don't get enough keywords, so then I resort back to my national list to find the remaining keywords, because I just use that scale thing that I talked about earlier. If there's cost and traffic on a national level, there will be some cost and traffic on a local level, even if Google's not registering it. Okay, thanks, Matt.
I can always, yeah. So this is the process we go through, guys. Basically, what we do is, like Sue says, we map out the national stuff. We start putting the modifiers in here. But when we come to write the copies, what we can do in DWS as well is under the silo DNA braid over here, we also come and add our modifiers into the actual keywords once we identify that they've actually got interest. Okay, so come on. What happens is you click on a keyword and you just type the keyword in here. So we can just basically say we're looking for professional carpet cleaning. And I'm just going to go like this, professional carpet cleaning in Hamilton. And I can just actually add that as a synonym or supporting keyword. Okay, and that will bind it to our story. So once we've done this on all our keywords, we've mapped it out. Typically what I want you guys to do is to find your market you want to go for. So if it's lawyers or if it's dentists, whatever, start with a single silo. When you hover over the silo, you'll see it needs about 6 articles. We're going to put another 3 articles in here to really define the end of tenancy. I want to look more into the pain type of things, and I want to drill into it, and I actually want to identify what are the things that I want to come from a landlord's perspective. I want to start searching and seeing what I can find, how they're actually getting to look for people to sort their properties out. Okay, it might not be that end of tenancy is the actual keyword we're looking for. So like it might be more direct, like carpet cleaners or painters and decorators in. So these are things we're going to actually start adding to the end of tenancy stuff. But the whole theme of the site is around about end of tenancy, and we're going to target it geographically as well. So for your exercises and the work that you're going to do, just start off, map out your first keyword and build out your single silo, and then what you want to do is you want to come and actually write the content. Okay, now if you're using DWS, it's really easy to put your content in. This is where the painkiller articles come into play. We need to really get into the pain. The reason why I chose end of tenancy was because I can really define things much clearer for you, because I know this market inside because I've gone through the pain many times. So when I'm speaking to myself, typically I'm very agitated because some people just don't care, and they wreck your house. They kick holes in the walls and all kinds of stuff. So when we write in the painkiller articles, we speak to that actual issue. We say, listen, are you tired of guys doing this and this and this? Is it just too stressful? It's taking time out of your day. Why don't you hand this over to us and we'll sort it out for you? This is the services we can offer. We can get your gas and safety check done, get your electrical check for you, we'll get the gas. We are landlords, we specialize in this. We've got the team together, and we can do it at a much more cost-effective price than you having to go to the big construction companies that are going to charge you probably 3 times the amount, because that's what happens. So we then speak to that market. Now you must try and get into that mindset when you're talking to the guys, because that's what's going to create the conversion. It's like the guys like, I just can't deal with this. I need this property sorted out, but I need to save money at the same time because it's very expensive. And this is when we come and write our content, and that's what I'm going to get George to do. So when I come order the content, I'm going to get George to write and talk to stuff. But I'm going to map out the story, and when I've got it finished mapped, I'm going to send out the video. I'm going to put it up on the members area. You'll get a link. Okay, these videos are in. They'll happen in the next few days. With the content coming in, I'll show you what George's written for us. And then basically what happens is we come to publish the website, and when we publish it, what happens is we go to WordPress and we use our DWS Silo Builder. Okay, this is the plugin we've created that actually goes and builds the whole silo structure for you. So when we click on the silo importer link over here, all we do is we point to the XML file that gets exported out, and we press import, and by the time this page refreshes, it would have built out your whole website for you, and it would have taken all the information from everything up to the content, everything that you put in here, all the way through, it gets put in. It puts in your meta titles, your descriptions, your meta keywords, the articles you've written, everything will get imported straight in and build the site out live. An example of this is I'm just doing this for the guys who've not actually seen DWS yet. If I look at that sample website we have over here, here's a website that's been built out with the plugin. This website, if I click on bag credit, this is one of our silos. You'll take note here that you'll see the actual navigation gets built out for you with all your links. Okay, so credit help is the index page of the website. So by default, the structure links back to index. And if I click onto another node, that's a category I've clicked on. I'm on the how to build category, and you see our content's in, everything's written, everything's prepped and done. There we're linking back up to bag credit. So all the internal on-page SEO factors are dealt with. You don't actually have to worry about the internal linking. It's all done for you. You focus more on the story and conversion. Okay, and then if we click on how to fix credit free, then we're right at the bottom of the silo. Okay, so that's how this whole story gets built out. But here's what we've given you guys, and this theme is really great. We've actually got a theme, and we bought the developer's license so that you guys don't have to invest into this. We're giving it to you as part of this whole course, where it's specific for local businesses, and it's very cool to use. I've been playing with it a little bit, and basically you've got full control of everything. You can control the colors, you can control the buttons, how they look, you can control the feature panels, you can put images in, you can actually drop videos into it. You can do absolutely everything, okay? You've got featured site content, you can change all the things, the call to actions, you can put your information in, you can actually embed your forms into the stuff over here if you want. You've got a quote rotator that rotates your testimonials, so you can have testimonials rotating. Then it does the H cards for you automatically as well, your business information on either the one page or all the pages, okay? And it's very, very, very cool. And here's the end result of this. This is the default template, but basically the way this works is it builds out the whole site for you, okay? And with the silo plugin, it builds up the navigation underneath it. It actually opens up another widget. But this is where you're going to actually put your call to action in over here and your contact form. And if you put a good video in here, or if you put your image in your style bars, you've got the testimonials. The reason why this works so well is because everything that they need is right there. They don't have to scroll down. All your content, all the other stuff sits below it on this page over here. And the conversions are much higher on this type of format. And the reason why I say this is when we had Property Saviors, we first put up a very professional corporate-looking website. We built it out. It was all slick, it was very corporate, and we never got many conversions. Then John, the guy that I worked with, he came to me and says, listen, let's just do a test. Let's just do a plain white vanilla website. All we're going to put on the front page is a picture of Christine and some of the consultants. And we're just going to tell them what we do, and we put the opt-in box just on the side there. She says, okay, fair enough, let's give it a go. And that's what our business built. It was a plain website, nothing fancy. And when you come into the local markets with this type of look and feel, I don't know what it is, but it seems to create more trust than the super slick corporate type of websites. Well, that's probably typical to like the debt type of markets, that people want to sort of keep things private. But what's great about this is you can optimize this and tweak this out and clean it up as much as you want. And I've been doing tests with this, and it works really, really great. So I've just got a single silo I've pulled in over here, and when the page loads, you can see there's our plugin working with it. It's just mapped it out over here. So all you've got to do is write your content, and here's all the content that's been written. It gets pulled in, and we can drop underneath this here. We can actually drop our call to action over here. We can actually have another opt-in form coming over here. It gives you full control of absolutely everything. And this is what we're going to basically get you guys to do today. So are there any questions so far?
Oh, yes.
I can really make sure that you get your because I'm just aware of the time, and I know that you guys have got other things that you need to do as well. And I want to make sure that you get everything answered.
So the site that you showed them is an example site that was done with Domain Web Studio. They want to know how you get the leads off of that site.
Off this one, yeah?
If that's the one you just showed. I wasn't actually paying any attention. Oh, you've got a phone number there.
One?
the earlier one.
Oh, that's
It's
just
the credit,
that was
the
just
credit side.
a demo site.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I
that's a
thought.
demo site that I put up just for the plugin purposes to show you how we can build up really big sites rapidly. That site took me 10 minutes to build when I imported everything in.
Yeah, I don't
That's
want
what I
anyone to
did.
think that this is not the quality of the site that on the completed product. And
No.
there's not an opt-in form currently on it. Okay, so we'll get into that. There's a few different ways to get the opt-in active, but he literally would have just built this out of Domain Web Studio, would have been sucked into this, and literally in 2 minutes after the Domain Web Studio process.
Yeah.
So this is the
Yeah,
immediate
you guys will see
result,
how I'll build the
prototype.
site.
It's a prototype. That's what.
Yeah.
And this is the. Yeah.
So we've just hoovered this in, and this is what we sort of ended up. I've just pre-built this because I knew that when we started going to DWS and we start building, obviously you can't build these things out in an hour. And I just wanted to have things available just to show you the working components that we have. So the look and feel is what you can customize and change to exactly what you want. But basically, you got your testimonials. You can have your video or images or a rotating banner thing over here. Your call to action, this is the secret to the whole thing. Call to action that we have over here, where our opt-in list form is going to sit over here, plus the phone number that feeds into the call center. So with the plugin that Russell told you about earlier on, which we're going to introduce you to, when they come here, it'll basically just put their details in if it can get it, and it's up to them to either click or they will phone the call center, and the call center will just fill the same form in over here. Okay, so you can see give us a call, your call to action over here, there's a call us, and all these numbers is what will come up in the search engines and what people see.
Yeah. You actually want your call to action up there where that red arrow is. There's like some extra text in there. So I would cut that text out and move your call to action up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this will be customized. We're gonna tweak this out, and we're gonna give you a live example. So this site's gonna go from this ugly duckling into a beautiful swan, and you're gonna see how we just connect this all up into the whole story.
Exactly.
So it works in a live environment.
Okay. So well, there's an interesting question. So by adding the local term as a synonym to your national term, you don't need any local specific page titles. How many local towns can you add to a national term like that?
To a national term, you can put towns in. Typically, I'll do it contextually. I wouldn't actually do it in the navigation. There's no point because the competing pages and the search volumes are so low that when you write your article, you could actually write in the copy, these are the areas we service in. Okay, so as you work on your website, and let's just say we're working on a professional carpet cleaning, we could say we do professional carpet cleaning in Motherwell, in Wishel, in Hamilton, and you do it in the actual body of the article, and that just makes it work better. There's no point putting them in the actual navigational structure and creating a page for it because the competing pages, you're looking like maybe 5,000 pages or 10,000. That blog post will get you ranked for that.
So I have to say, in America, I would do it differently. I would actually include the township in the title. We're more competitive here, and you'll have a much more difficult time ranking if you don't include it.
Yeah, we'll put it this way, America compared to the UK, we're looking at probably as a good 50 times larger,
yeah,
the search volumes and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a whole different game.
So
So what you would do there, you should actually map it out as pages underneath at the supporting article level. Is that what you're saying, Sue?
I say that again?
You're basically saying you'll put all the towns in as supporting articles of the city.
Yes. So so for instance, I mean, I would probably just target one city at a shot. There's a couple different ways to do this. You can either, if you want to go on a national level and target a bunch of different cities and do a directory kind of thing, then you'd have probably the state at the silo level, and then you'd have the cities at the category level. If you're going to be a little bit more restrained, and if I were just going to do an end of tenancy type site for here in Mesa, Arizona, then I would just include Mesa, or maybe even Mesa AZ, is just because there's a lot of different mesas in the U.S. So I might throw the state actually in there as part of the keyword. I definitely would throw Mesa in there as part of the keyword. And then when we get into the stuff that we're going to do next with the metadata, the new metadata that's available with HTML5, where you can actually put your address in code that tells the search engines that this is your actual physical address, and then especially when you tie that up with your Google account, so with the Google Places page, then all of that comes together and you get a real solid locale-based website that ranks really easily.
So we're going to do videos, just mapping this out. Soon I'll probably jump on a video. We'll flesh out the rest of the site. We'll have a chat with each other doing it, and then we'll get this up, get it out. We'll get Greg on the call. It's George. I keep on calling him Greg.
Yeah.
We'll get George on the call. George is a specialist in writing painkiller articles, and he's familiar with DWS as well. And we have a chat with him about what he's going to say. We'll get him to actually come and get his guys to actually feed the content in. They'll build it. So that'll give you a flavor of some of the outsourcing aspects of the tool. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move into actually building the site. We're going to come into the site. We're going to pump it out. We're going to put the call center call to action in. And as we're going through each thing, we're going to create the videos as we move through each block, and you'll see how we actually put everything into this theme. This is one of the reasons why we've used this theme, so that everybody's got the same standard type of look and feel. But the thing is, this is a skin. You can change it any way you want. You've got all the controls here. You can change it. And if you're more advanced, you can actually go into WordPress and you can actually modify the whole look. But the framework's pretty cool, the way it works over here.
So I have to say that next to the U.S., the U.K. is probably the next most competitive market. So, so the stuff that Matt's doing for the U.K., you can do for all the other countries. So Germany and France, and we've got quite the international crowd on this call, actually.
Yeah, like especially with Australia and all those ones. I look at South Africa and it's ridiculous. There is no competition.
There's nothing.
i.e. one of the reasons why I'm going back. But the great thing about what we're doing here, guys, is if we just map the things out, if you map out the story, okay, and you think about it, if you're doing a national level in the US, then the bigger the country and the more people, the more up you're going to move the locales to the silo level. But if you're down in the US, here in the UK, you can keep your locales actually one layer down, and you can actually go for the root term and then put your locales underneath it. And it tends to work really well because then you get rankings for both, and you can really target the site really well.
Oh, we have a good question about when we include the locale as part of the keyword. Do we go back and adjust the competing pages? Yes, I go into a spreadsheet. I can show you how to do that, and I append the locale and then create a new keyword with the locale appended, and then I throw that into an import list, probably in Kraken. Do I spin them? Yeah, usually there's you would say, usually when you read the keyword, it's going to go either in the front or behind, and otherwise it's going to need a preposition like in or something like that. So I don't necessarily do both prepending and appending. Although I might do one, the lesser popular one as a synonym. WP Local Biz is part of Domain Web Studio.
No, it's a theme. It's a WordPress theme that we bought the developer's license, so we can actually pass it on to you guys. We've checked the terms and conditions, and it's fine. We're not allowed to resell it, but it's fine for you guys to use because you're part of the whole course. So it's just a great theme to use, especially once you clean it up and you tweak it out exactly how you want it. And then The whole thing, what we're doing here, guys, is we wanting to get leads, okay? We're needing to use content to basically get the site ranked, okay? But as soon as the guys hit the page, we want to have the call to action be strong enough that this go-to thing drives me mad and sits over the whole screen. We want to have the call to action right there and then, have the pictures, the before and after pictures or whatever, flashing here, and we want to have just this page. So as I hit it, call us now, bang. Then they can actually see the primary headers, the primary links and stuff. If they want to browse around, they can. We're answering all their questions. But on all the pages, we really want to have the guys, basically, we want to convert them. We want to have a call to action all the time. Get them to fill in that form. They fill in that form, or they phone the call center and get the lead. That's the whole primary objective here.
Okay. I got a whole bunch of questions. Is there a call to action on every page? Absolutely. If you're intending on the page getting traffic, I would put a call to action on it.
Don't get me started.
Exactly. When we do the upcoming videos, yes, I'll do a version that's got the US slant on it since it's more competitive. I'll show you exactly what it is I'm talking about. If you're going to do multiple cities on the same theme, you're going to want to change up the content more than just the city. So in other words, if I'm doing Mesa, Arizona, Chandler, Arizona, and Scottsdale, Arizona, and I'm doing the same service, painters, for all three of those, don't just change the town, you got to change up the content too. Otherwise, especially if it's on the same domain, otherwise you'll get slapped with duplicate content. If it's on different domains, there's not so much of a problem. I'd still change it a little bit.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons why I built the site the way I do. This thing's driving me nuts. We want to tell a story over here, and when we look at the locales, we want to tell a locale for that story. So some places might have mold, some not. So you got to sort of think about this whole story. You got to think it through when you're actually mapping it out, and that's why I didn't want to just go, oh, there's 5 keywords, throw them in here, build the site. I want to give you guys a proper live working example where it goes on the web. You can actually go and watch it in the rankings. You can track its rankings, you can see what's going on, and then when we come back we can actually show you guys the stats of the leads. We want to make this a real live working example, and the thing to keep me motivated will be the money it makes, which I'll push into the property business. So I want to give you guys a real working thing. So with the locales, don't just change the headline and the title and think you're going to get very far, because it's not going to work, eh?
So when you have a location-specific supporting article, you want to have a location-specific opt-in. Like that, I would say that yes, that's part of the segmentation that you want to do. If you're segmenting it on your site, I would segment it on your lists. I would segment. Within Aweber, it's really easy to mail to a bunch of lists all at the same time. You can go down and just click on the additional lists. So if you have an email that you want to blast to all of your lists, regardless of their locale, it's an easy thing to do that. It's really hard if you already have a list and all of these people are all together in one list, there's no way to segment that list and mail out to just part of the list. So when in doubt, segment.
Yeah, the segmentation, just to back up what Sue's saying there, is you're going to end up having probably selling leads to different people in different locales. So that's why it's also important to break it down to the town level, because you might have a guy in each different town who's taking the leads, or you might have one guy taking leads from 5 different towns, but then he comes back and says, actually, I just want to do 2 now. Then you're left with 3 towns that need to get refilled. So think about your business from that point of view. I saw a question here asking, is that template mobile already? Yes, it does. It automatically builds out a mobile version of your website. Yeah. And I wanted to show you guys.
I'm actually really impressed with this theme.
I don't have it open at the moment. But basically, I've been watching a lot of the local stuff with my software. I've been analyzing it, and I'd say up to 90% of the sites don't have mobile versions. So you're going to be way ahead. So yeah, the site, when you look at it now, oh, that looks like a 1980s type of website. Don't look at the colors and the pictures. Think about the framework that it's actually sitting on. Right. The look and feel can be changed. It's the framework that's caught Sue's attention, and it's caught mine. It does your mobile sites automatically for you. It does all your HV cards. It works with the Silo plugin. It's got the call to action elements in the right places, and if you just give it a bit of work, you can make it look really, really great. And what's good about this is with the plugin, it builds the whole site for you, so you're not suddenly creating pages anymore. It's all done. So those 2-3 hours that you would have sat creating pages and copying, pasting content in or writing content in can now be used to work on the conversions. You're thinking conversions, look and feel conversions. You want every page to work.
Okay, so somebody asked, do we recommend only .coms? Here's my thinking on that. If you're going to be advertising your website through a media where somebody has to remember the name, then I go with .coms. So in other words, if you're going to put it on a billboard, or if you're going to have a radio ad or a television ad or something like that, and somebody has to actually remember that name and type it in, then .coms are the way to go. If people are going to find you online and all they got to do is click a button, or mobile or something like that, and all they have to do is click to your site, then the .com becomes completely irrelevant. Does the capture page in this theme float page to page? I haven't played with the theme enough yet to be able to tell you. I think that the call to action, I think that's the question you're asking. The call to action is on every page.
Yeah, he's talking about this blue area.
Yeah.
It depends what template you assign to the pages.
Oh, right. So you can assign a different template to each page? Like page lines?
That's what I've seen so far.
Excellent. Okay. Yes, we're going to have some time between now and the next webinar. We're going to have 2 weeks. That's the whole point, is to give you guys enough. We're going to give you obviously some more information. We're going to do some videos off webinar and put those in the members area, and we'll email everybody out every time something, well, I won't say every time something new goes up in there, but every couple of days and tell you what's going on that's new, so that you can get a hold of that information and use that to help you build out your site. So we actually want to give you time now to walk away and give all this a try, and then we'll come back 2 weeks from yesterday. We'll come back and do a Q&A so that as you're having problems, we can work through those problems, and then we'll come back a couple weeks later and actually get on to the next part of the webinar.
That's going to be the traffic part.
Yeah. Are you getting this theme? Yes, it's going to be in the members area. Is there a live copy of this site? Yes. Is it live on this thing that you've got right here, the webdevelopment.co.uk?
Oh yeah. It's just sitting there. It's just a dummy. When I got the live domain, I'm going to be building this whole website on. It's called endoftennesseecleaners.com. That's endoftennesseecleaners365.com. So I've got the specific thing I'm after.
So we'll have that link for you in the members area too. You'll be able to see that. We'll have some pictures of the site there as it gets built out, so that you can watch it go from ugly duckling to the final thing.
Yeah, I'm also going to start taking analytics from day one. We're going to have rank tracking, so you actually watch what happens with each keyword through the progress of the story as well. That's going to come in.
Server requirements for your silo plugin. You know, it's pretty light. I would say there's probably you've installed it. What are the server side requirements? I'm sure it needs.
Just need IronCube, eh?
Yeah, I figured it needed IronCube. Good.
It's just IronCube, but the plugin doesn't have a heavy load on the websites. The plugin is basically the bridge between DWS and WordPress, and it migrates the data across and then configures the whole blog and does all the hard work of actually connecting all the pages so that it works in a proper solid structure. There's a lot of guys have tried to do it, but it took us a good 6 months to get it working properly, where you've got a proper solid WordPress website, and they rank really, really well. Another thing to say about local keywords, guys, is if you know that there's interest in that locale, you can use them as well, even if there isn't much search volume. Just because it says there's no search volume, if you're targeting that locale, you can still use that keyword. okay, because there will be people, especially with Google going more local, when they're doing more local searches, it's filtering out here in the UK now as well, you'll see that those rankings will pick up, and you saw how hollow the whole market is at the local level. It's totally hollow. So with us putting siloed structured lead engines into these local markets, you're gonna move through rankings very, very quickly. With the question from Danya with regards to mobile, there's a plugin that comes with this. They built it in, and there's a theme that you've got to sort of just upload with this. There's a whole document that covers it. I'm going to do a video on it as well, and that creates the mobile version of the website. So there's an on and off switch that you've got to basically put on to turn on the mobile or turn it off within the setup.
Does divorce
So
count
the
as
guys
a
are
recurring?
checking up.
What's that?
Did you cut out, Matt? Did I interrupt you? I didn't mean to.
Oh, no, I was just really looking for the question. Does divorce count as a recurring theme?
Yeah.
Well, it depends how bad you are. If you're really good at making the woman angry or the men angry, then yes.
Yeah, divorce is doing well in every local region.
Look, guys, it doesn't have to particularly be recurring. I like recurring because I want to squeeze a list a few times. I don't want to just get a one-hit wonder and then I have to keep on building. So that's why I suggest looking for recurring type of services, because you can build a solid business about that. And once you build good relationships with the people that you're providing leads, you can start doing JVs with them where your commissions get bigger. So I always think of how can I do this, or number two, if you are settled in and you don't move around as much as I do, you can basically start your own business. You get your contractors in, they give you a set price, you put your price on top of it, the lead comes in, you get one of you guys to go do a quote on the job, and you put a 10 or 20% markup on it. This whole model is totally flexible. It's totally up to you. So for example, if you look at that list again, if you targeted the kitchen sinks niche just there, you got 3,616 searches a day with 64,000. I'm definitely going to look at that. That's just ridiculous. So you can put up you join up an affiliate thing that sells sinks or whatever, or you can do a deal with one of the local guys who do the sinks. Basically, when a guy wants to change his sink, he's probably refurnishing his whole kitchen, and you're looking at like a £5,000 deal happening there. Anything between 2,000 and 5,000 after the expenses. So that's the labours, buying all the stuff. You could get a nice, decent commission off that. So it's totally how you want to approach this whole market.
All right.
If I buy the plugin, can I pop the XML myself? So I'm gonna do what? I'm gonna change services. Thanks.
I think we're through all the questions. Excellent. All right. So so there'll be a whole bunch more stuff, obviously, that's coming in the next week in the members area, and we'll be in touch that way. And as far as webinars go, we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. I expect you to be doing your research and to be building your website. Don't make me get the whips out. That's supposed to be a joke.
So I want to give the Kevin. Guys, have we answered all your questions? Have you got a good base? I know all you guys can build websites. This is why I don't want to sit here and waste your time. You guys are all masters at building sites. For the majority of you are really good at doing it. Is there any other questions we can answer before we get off this call? Because then what I'll do is I'll just get to work and start building the site out. I promise to speak more, not drift off into my thoughts and work at warp speed. And and then we can we'll do the videos, short videos. I'm going to try and keep them down to like 15 minutes, 20 minutes of where we're actually doing a step, so it's easy to watch, and it won't be like a 3-hour session of just watching one video.
Richard has his hand raised, and I've never been able to figure out in webinars what that means when somebody's hand is raised. So let me see if he's got a question. Oh, his hand went down. Okay, good. Must have been a bad click. All right.
Kevin wants to borrow the life insurance leads. Give me a call, Kevin, and let's have a chat, because that's standing wide open. Those numbers are just sick. I saw some really good words. So just ping me on Skype, Kevin. We can have a chat about that.
Excellent. All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Is that it?